I'll do it. We started out last session in camp, and the little cactus that was following us was outside of the camp, and there were skittering sounds all around us. Yinkin was the only one awake at the time. He began to wake everybody up. It was too dark for us to actually see the cactus, but he was eliminated later. I threw a stone cast light on it, so we were able to see him. He wasn't really doing much, so the party began looking for the source of the skittering. Giselle knocked a hole in the wall with their staff, and beetles started pouring out. We fought the beetles. We won. After the fight, Giselle collected some of the carapaces. After determining that the cactus wasn't posing any immediate threat, everyone kind of went back to sleep, except Gabriel, who watched the camp with Chandra, and Yinkin, who was bit by the beetles during the fight and stared mesmerized by his own fire for the duration. During that time, Chandra divulged that she was more or less a prostitute for the Blackguard, and she didn't go into great detail as to why she was exiled. And after the party awoke, we started traveling again. We came across an area where we started to hear bird sounds, wings, gargling, squawking sounds. The old man was having trouble keeping up with the party, and Yinkin started to help him out. Dala had to help Jija. Marcus ended up climbing one of the tent rocks to see where we were headed. He was able to locate the mesa that we were headed towards. But he also saw 7 or 8 man-eating chickens. He climbed back down to warn us, and they started to stalk us. Jalen accidentally shot off the crossbow after being startled by the birds, and Marcus tried to send him to his death by making him recover the bolt while we were surrounded by man-eating chickens. Jalen ran off, and the birds attacked. After the fight, Giselle had a one-sided conversation with the chicken. Marcus and Jija cooked the dead birds and had stomach issues afterwards. We continued to travel again, found a river that was flowing through the mesas, and started to find signs of life, animals, vegetation, stuff like that. Yinkin found a cave nearby that looked like it was man-made. We searched the cave and found signs that someone had lived there previously. There were some chalk drawings of 3 different figures. There was a wolf, a human, and a combination of the two. There was also some odd humanoid tracks that looked like they started out as human and then changed. We started searching the immediate area to scavenge for stuff, food, water, wood, things like that. Marcus made a fishing rod. Faith used some of the stuff from her pack to make line and hooks. Jalen was practicing with his crossbow and killed a frog. We finally bathed for the first time for about a week and were interrupted by sounds of a pained howl. Gabriel, Marcus, and Giselle stealthily investigated the noise and found an owlbear angrily pounding and growling over the corpse of another owlbear while they were surrounded by 4, we couldn't make it out exactly, similar half-breed humanoids that looked like the drawings. And the session ended there.
Okay, well done. Yeah. Anybody feel like anything else needed to be added to that?
The girls spied on the boys while they bathed.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, right.
Let's not forget that.
The important priorities.
Mm-hmm.
It's a priority.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, you as I recall specifically, because it's something that I forgot to narrate last week, one of the things specifically that happened was that Marcus, Gabriel, and Giselle went to sneak up on the sounds. And specifically, one of you failed your stealth roll. And that was Giselle. So as you guys kind of crust over and you see this owlbear being surrounded by these creatures, these bipedal canine-esque creatures. I think that Giselle steps on a branch and snaps it, or trips and begins to fall, and in so trying to catch herself, draws the attention of whatever is happening down to that away. So yeah, the three of you are watching over this scene between this owl bear and these other creatures. What are you doing? You've now
Perhaps
drawn
we
their
should get the
attention.
Shove Giselle down and run.
Thanks. So lovely. Be the second time I've gotten abandoned by a party.
What are you doing?
I mean, for starter, I guess Marcus would still just try and remain hidden and silent. To see if how much they noticed Giselle's,
I mean, I think that if
sound or
if you wanted to, I mean, they've definitely noticed Giselle. But if you wanted to say that they hadn't noticed you or Marcus since you two actually made your rolls, that's fine. But Giselle is seen.
I stumbled out of the bushes.
Now, how focused did all of them, the owlbear and the humanoids, everyone just stopped and kind of look in our direction, or is it just like a couple of them while the other ones were focused on each other still?
A couple of the canine creatures have turned their attention to Giselle. Two of the others are still watching the owlbear, and they're kind of there's a tension here. Like there's definitely they're kind of circling each other, as it were.
Do they look like they're ready to come this way?
Hard to say. But you gotta act quick. What are you doing?
We probably can't take these by ourselves. We need the others.
But if they see us and we run, they're definitely going to chase.
I'm putting mage armor on myself.
Okay. So
About how far away are we from them?
I don't know, maybe 50 feet.
That's a lot closer than I thought we were.
I mean, we could try to slowly back away.
I mean, two of you are hidden. Giselle is really the one with the issue here.
I put my hands up like I'm surrendering.
Okay. So you're standing there basically surrendering. Marcus and Gabriel, you guys can see Giselle doing this.
I'd like to ready a spell.
What are you trying to ready?
If they start to charge her, I want to cast Magic Missile on the nearest one.
Okay. The canine creatures seem to redraw their focus back on the owlbear. And it looks like unless you intervene, there's going to be a fight between all of these creatures. They don't seem to be drawn to Giselle yet. Like, they don't see her as a threat.
How far away from the cave are we? I know we were able to hear this from the river.
Yeah, but it was pretty loud. Now that there's a lot of it's basically just quiet circling. Like I said, it's quiet but very tense. You hear the rushing of the water, and you're just kind of watching the scene unfold. But I would say you're probably a couple hundred feet from the cave.
Oh wow, that's still pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, we could at least rally. If we get to the cave entrance, we could at least have a place to fight out of. We won't be able to get surrounded. We could fight from the cave entrance.
Yeah, bottleneck them.
So maybe we quietly try to back away, get the others.
Okay.
And kind of pile into the cave.
So basically, all I'm going to need here is if you're trying to retreat, I think Giselle's going to have to make a stealth roll.
Okay. I mean, they already see me.
I know, but if you're trying to get away, like unless you're trying to get them to chase you.
No. I'm definitely not trying to make them chase me.
Let's just stealth back into the bushes that you popped out of.
Come on, you can do it.
There you go.
Hey.
Okay. So yeah, Giselle, you sort of just quietly, hands up in the air, kind of, move yourself back down to a a kneeling position and kind of like move back towards your friends and crest this kind of like little hill and you begin to move away. Are all of you heading back to the cave?
Yeah.
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 Okay. So you guys begin to head back, and it takes you a few minutes. And then when they return, Faith and Yinkin, what are you two doing? They're just naked in the river. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, he's married. Faith is just kind of sitting outside the cave. She's holding her instrument like she wants to play, but given the noise, she doesn't dare.
Yeah. Yinkin is probably sitting there just inside the mouth of the cave with the staff ready.
Okay.
Did you find out what all the noise was about?
Yeah, there's some like canine-like monsters fighting another monster or about to. It's only a few hundred feet away. They saw Giselle.
Big animal.
Okay, so was it taken care of, or?
No.
I
Too
don't
many
think
of them
this is
for
something
us
we
to
can take care of. Yeah, just like you said. We need to get everyone inside of the cave. If they do attack, I think it's probably going to be in our best interest to be somewhere that they can't surround us.
With all, I don't want the boy at my back with a crossbow when he's still shooting it off early.
If you want to stand behind him, you can stand behind him.
Yeah, use him as a shield.
I'll give
No,
Giselle a side-eye
Giselle.
look.
What? Just
With
I am
anything-
not so cruel to sacrifice a boy, but just so you understand that. All right, we prepare. We've made it this far. I'll be damned if we're dying now.
Do you
Seconded.
think we can
Yeah.
try and talk to them?
I'm sure they'll be able to track us back to this cave. They weren't that far.
Well, I'm pretty sure
So,
they've already
if-
been to this cave, so.
but they didn't attack us immediately upon seeing Giselle, so maybe there's hope of communication.
We can
Indeed.
hope.
But we should still get everyone inside to safe, or yeah, because they clearly seem like they like to surround their targets. So if we can take that advantage away from them, we'll be better off for any encounter.
Agreed.
While we wait, I'd like to ritual cast comprehend languages.
Okay.
How rocky is the side of the mesa or whatever that the cave is in? Does it look climbable?
Oh,
Or is it-
theoretically, but it's. I mean, it would definitely be because of its height. It would probably require quite a bit of strength, and I mean, it would be difficult, but theoretically doable.
Does it look like there's any like ledge where you could perch or sit for a minute without having to climb up the entire height of it?
There's like little outcroppings and stuff, but it wouldn't be comfortable to just sit for a long period of time. But to give you, a minute or two of a heightened advantage, maybe.
I'd like to try and climb up to yeah, so one of those outcroppings for a better line of sight, and to stay up there for 10-15 minutes while see if these beasts come after us.
Okay, give me an acrobatics check. That'll do it. So Marcus heads outside and begins to climb to get a better vantage. Why don't you give me a perception check?
Natural one.
What's distracting you?
Maybe there's some not the type of beetles we fought before, but there are some like beetles walking around on the rocks, and I got really nervous about is this thing gonna explode behind me with a bunch of beetles?
Mm-hmm.
So I keep looking back to watch the cliff face, and I'm not paying enough attention to what's outside.
Okay. Yeah, so you're kind of just like chilling up there, but you're just like trying to avoid these beetles and you're just distracted. Yeah. So while Marcus is doing that, what is everyone else doing?
I'm trying to keep everyone calm, especially the non-combatants, kind of getting them inside. Similar to what I've been doing the last few days, kind of reassuring them everything's going to be fine. Just wait back here. If anything happens, just let us take care of it.
Yep, we are strong people. We will kick their butts with magic.
Hey, Gabriel, I've got an idea.
I'm all ears.
This is a small space, right?
Smallish.
You stand on one side, I'll stand on the other, and we'll have a thing of rope between us. If they come charging and they can't be spoken with, I want to at least try and trip them.
Interesting idea.
It worked when we were kids.
Well, maybe if they can stay out of line of the cave opening, maybe this is something Jija and Dala can do while we stand at the cave entrance. So
That works.
similar to what I think Faith was trying to do and talking to them. If that falls through, they charge us, and then they're not looking at the ground; they're looking at us.
How is Faith going to talk to them?
I won't be able to talk to them, but I'll understand what they're saying, and hopefully we can come to some kind of agreement or communication otherwise, but at least I'll understand what they mean.
If they're lucky, they'll speak common. If we're lucky, they'll speak common.
Right, but if they don't, at least we'll be able to understand them. And if we're not wanted, we can avoid combat by simply doing as they wish.
We can hope.
So, meanwhile, you guys are trying to discern a plan to deal with these creatures.
You've got some weird, like
I'm
tittering.
Like for a minute.
A what?
You know when your phone interacts with a speaker and it makes that kind of crackling sound? Your mic was doing that.
Oh, okay.
It's not now.
All right. Well, if it keeps up, let me know. Excuse me. So, yeah, you guys are making your plans, and Marcus is kind of failing to figure out what's happening. A few minutes pass. What was that?
What is that?
John.
I can't shut it off. I'm sorry.
That was creepifying. Anyway,
Okay.
so yeah, you guys are making plans, trying to figure out what's happening, and several minutes pass. Marcus, I imagine you try to climb down after unsuccessfully trying to get an advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd climb back down and get towards the cave with everybody else. And just be like, didn't see anything yet.
And I think that as you're climbing down and you're all gathering together, And I think you said, it's pretty late. The moon is high in the sky. Gwen's bird needs to shut up. And Marcus, you climb down to meet with everyone else. And all of you kind of observe something maybe a bit strange to you, which is that you don't really hear anything. It's very quiet. Like, strangely quiet. You don't hear any growling or crying or howling or anything quite like that. You don't hear birds, crowing in the distance, anything like that. And then as you kind of face the direction from where you came from, watching over the owlbear and those creatures, you kind of look up and the moon kind of backlights this figure that looks like one of those canine creatures. Just one of them. Who's kind of cresting up, and it appears to be heading in your direction. Slowly. It almost looks like it's limping. What do you do?
Should I go out to it?
I would like to make a nature check. Specifically to understand if I recall what all of nature going quiet actually implies.
What? Going nature?
I'm rolling nature because I, as a player, know, but I wasn't sure if Yinkin as a character would know. When everything in the surrounding area suddenly shuts up and hides, it usually means there's a predator nearby.
Well, this is more about. This is. But yeah, what you observe is, something just happened, some fierce display of aggression, that might silence everything in the area. But mostly what you notice is that whereas it was, there was that kind of tension in the air, that, the growling and everything before, it's just all gone. Yeah, this creature is still heading in your direction.
And you said it does or does not look vaguely humanoid?
Vaguely. It's got 2 legs and 2 arms, but it also seems to have some canine-ish features as well. Like, its face looks like it's elongated and it's got sharp teeth and it has claws and...
Is this what was up there?
I say we stick to our plan. So
I don't think we should provoke it if it doesn't, attack first.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's not attacking and just needs help?
Well, that's, again, we stick to the plan. If it's going to talk, you should be able to understand what it's saying.
Wait till it gets within hailing distance. Make sure. As horrible as this sounds, this place has made me paranoid.
Well, we've been attacked by absolutely everything we've met so far, so paranoia is definitely understandable.
Yeah.
So wait till we see it's alone. Did we ever scout the back of the cave to see if there was another entrance?
You did.
Yeah, it's small
Giselle
and
did that.
closed.
I didn't remember if we did or didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, there was not an exit.
I think it's cramped with all 10 of us inside of it.
Then yeah, we'll just wait, say hello, and see how it responds, I guess. But wait till we make sure there's only one.
And the creature is getting close enough that a number of its features are beginning to detail out in the kind of moonlight. And you begin to notice more and more that it is... It looks pained. It seems to be limping and favoring its left leg quite hard. And it's moving towards you slowly in the moonlight.
The pictures on the walls said this thing could be human or was human once.
I
was
don't
just
know.
3
It's just 3
pictures.
pictures. A man, a wolf, and a wolf man. But
Is it? Sean might be muted.
Yes, Sean was coughing. Sorry.
Sorry.
And as the creature gets closer to you, you see it stumble and fall. And you can see now, close to you, how broken it looks. Its right leg looks possibly shattered, or blood is everywhere. The thing is bruised, and the body falls, and the hands instinctively reach down to catch itself. And it ends up in this kind of kneeling position.
It's the first human-like thing we've seen outside the city. Faith goes to it.
Marcus follows.
And
Yinkin will go as well.
and the creature just collapses down on the ground. And as it does so, you see its long claws and its muzzle begin to kind of pull and retract into itself. It's not violent. It's quite smooth, the transition.
Is it still alive when we get to it?
Give me a medicine check.
I'm going to dump healing light into it anyway.
Yeah, Faith, it's breathing, barely, ragged. But as you're kind of like looking over the body, you see a bunch of hair begin to retract, and the claws and things are retracting into itself. And what's left is a man, fairly young man, early 20s perhaps, dark of skin, short cropped hair. Breathing is labored, but seems to be eased by Marcus. He still doesn't wake up.
Do we recognize this as a former exile?
No. This is just a person. Looks like a human man.
Marcus, get me some of that wood we gathered. I'm gonna try and splint his you said his leg was shattered?
Right. I'll run back and find a good sized branch for...
And I'll pull some of the bandages from the torn up dress to try and to set the leg and bind up whatever's openly bleeding still.
Okay. So you guys begin binding him and splinting his leg.
Yep, I'll help her.
Okay. What is everyone else doing while they're doing this? Gabriel? Giselle?
I stayed back in the cave with the non-combatants just in case this was a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there were others.
I'm probably just watching, fascinated, because this is a strange experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the rest of you kind of splint him up and bind his wounds. Do you bring him into the cave with you?
I wouldn't go quite that far.
Yeah, no. It's a clear night though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is probably his cave.
It's our cave right now.
If he wakes, we can deal with that then. In the meantime, he stays out. We've stopped the bleeding, we've set the wounds the best we can. If he is ungrateful for that, well... And Faith just kind of gives a bitter smile. We'll deal with it when we get to it.
There were still 3 others out there.
Do we want to go investigate that?
Honestly, no.
Not till morning, at least.
I'm gonna send my rat.
Right. Your pet.
Familiar.
Can your rat
I would hope you're
swim
familiar
across
with
the
your pet.
river?
It's a rat. Rats can swim.
In sewage.
But yeah,
If you
I'll send,
think he's going to have any information to provide, then I don't see the harm in it.
well,
Worst that
at
happens,
least,
it gets eaten.
well, at the very least, I can have him see if the other 3 are still alive. Well, the owlbear succeeded.
What's an owl bear?
I don't. The bear thing. The bear.
It's a bear with an
Owl
owl head. I
thing.
think that's why she's calling it an owl bear.
I don't know
That
what
sounds-
I probably don't even know what an owl is, come to think of it. The bear thing with the bird head.
What a strange place this is.
I'll send Mr. Sprinkles to see if he can check out the area that they were fighting in.
Okay. All right. So you send your rat out.
Yeah.
And it takes a little while for your rat to like navigate the land and everything. Are you looking through the rat's eyes, or are you just waiting for him to report back?
I don't think I can look through his eyes that far away. Almost within 100 feet.
Okay. So it takes some time. There's quite a bit of delay. You know, rat's got small feet. It's hard for him to. You know, it's not just as easy as like flying out there like a bird and flying back. So you got a little bit of time before Mr. Sprinkles reports. Meanwhile, what is everyone else doing?
I'm still protecting the other people, kind of keeping them calm. Again, just reassuring them that everything's fine. Just stay in the cave.
Okay.
I think I'd probably go get my bedroll or something and bring it back out to where the injured man is.
Okay.
Try to like move him onto it, and then
I'll help.
watch over.
Yeah, and I'm staying with the man. And then I'll help Marcus when he gets back.
I hate to admit it, but I'm genuinely fascinated because I saw fur recede into this guy. So I'm looking if I can see any hint of that. I'm not like stripping him or anything. So get your all minds out of the gutter because I know all of you went there. But I'm trying to see if I can see any sign of that transformation while he's human.
Trying to see if all his hair went away.
Not all. Just that on his upper head.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you guys take some time and tend to him, and Yink and you begin to study the man's hair. And some time passes. More of the night passes, and maybe after an hour or two, Mr. Sprinkles returns. And Giselle, he basically tells you that he tells you about a large creature that is there, that is kind of watching over one of its dead young, and that there is a body of a human that appears dead not far from it, but that's all that Mr. Sprinkles sees.
Ooh, I'm gonna relay that to the rest of you guys.
So what? Missing 2, and she'll just kind of indicate vaguely to the unconscious man, whatever he is.
The creature seems as though it's rather beat up.
Is it possible the other 2? Is it possible your Mr. Sprinkles just didn't find them? It's not like he's got the greatest vantage point.
Perhaps the creature ate them? I don't know.
Most
Maybe
animals
they
leave
walked off.
something behind.
Perhaps they walked off like this gentleman did as well.
Are we mistaken in assuming that the creatures, again, another vague motion to the man, are together? They may be akin, but not a family, I guess?
I mean, I guess that's a possibility. They could have been, 2 or more groups, both trying to. Seemed like they were hunting that beast, but it could have been, separate groups of these creatures that were trying to hunt it, and they fought each other, and or the other 2 ran off.
Well, we don't
without
know what
getting injured.
happens out here. I mean, there's reasons for our kind to gather and celebrate or work together. Maybe that's what this was, but when one died, they went their separate way.
Perhaps
I
we'll
think
get
our-
more answers when our friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Agreed.
He's not from Bastion, I don't think. I mean, he's not familiar from other exiles. Right?
I don't recognize him.
I don't usually watch the ceremonies.
Is his skin color, I guess, uncommon in Bastion?
That's a potentially dangerous question.
Sorry.
I'm gonna say that yes, generally his skin appears dark. I mean, he's for our purposes, he's basically light-skinned black. And yes, like that's not a common trait among folks from Bastion. He spends, he's a person who seems, spends quite a bit of his time in the sun or out in nature.
But he's still darker than, like, Yinkin, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
I mean, Yinkin is tan, right?
Right, but
Yeah.
sometimes you can tell the difference between the skin tone versus, like, a farmer's tan.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
more natural dark.
Yeah, so I don't ever remember seeing many people like him in Bastion. Maybe there are others out here. We've been trapped behind those damn walls. And nobody comes back because we're not worth saving.
No, nobody comes. It's possible that nobody comes back because of that bloody, that storm alone,
And the cactus.
and the beetles,
And the birds.
and the
Sure, though.
whatever that other former person was.
The one
Yeah,
stole
that thing
all
was
the
very
water.
unpleasant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't get close enough to find out.
Count yourself lucky.
Quite frankly, we're all just making assumptions. Until this guy regains consciousness, I don't think we're going to get any answers.
But it's an interesting story to tell once we find others.
For now, I think a double watch, one for general area and one for our guest.
Agreed.
I'll stay with the guest for the first watch.
Are you guys against maybe even tying him up?
Yes.
That more or less assumes hostility when he wakes.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems pretty weak. I don't think we'd need to.
But we don't know what causes the fur.
Mm.
The weather's nice enough, yeah?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, there's a nice breeze blowing through, but it's definitely temperate. It's nice.
Well, I'm saying there's no harm in letting him sleep under the stars versus in the cave. It's not raining on him. It's not.
Correct.
And yeah. Everybody else in the cave except the watch, and then.
Yeah, we all have enough magic within our own abilities to understand that this, whatever this is not something we can assume is. I forgot where I was going with this. Scratch that. Never mind.
Okay.
If it becomes a threat, I think we have the
Right.
skills to deal with it. Wake everybody else up fast enough. It is clearly weakened.
So yeah, who's on first watch? Because this was towards the evening. It was full moon, so.
I'm taking first watch with the wounded. And again, ritual casting, comprehend languages, just every time the hour is up in case he does wake.
I think I'd like to take the first watch for the cave watch. Just
Okay.
at least until the NPCs are able to get to sleep.
Okay. All right.
I'll take second watch of the person.
I'll take last watch of the person.
Okay. Sure. So Faith begins watch with the young man, and Gabriel sits watch inside the cave. I think that Gabriel, Chandra, and Jalen are definitely curious. Like, they're not quite wanting to sleep because they want to know, like Jalen is like sitting at the edge of the cave, like the mouth of the cave, and he's just kind of watching this young man. And he looks kind of excited in that way that only small children get excited.
Mhm.
And he's just excited. And Chandra, who's still older but still a young woman, is still excited but trying to hide it. She's hiding it better. And Jalen says to you, he's just excitedly like watching this young man. He's like, what does it mean? I mean, and he's like chewing his nails. Like, we're not alone. Like, what was he? Can I do that?
As of right now, he's just another survivor. Until he regains consciousness, we're not going to have any answers. It's too early to speculate. As you guys are aware, we've seen a lot of different things out here. They've been able to do a lot of different. They have a lot of different abilities. The last ceremony was about 3 months ago. There's not to say that he wasn't originally one of the people. Maybe he was a survivor, maybe he was affected by something that's out here, or maybe he is from somewhere else. We're not going to know until morning. So I think it's best that everyone gets some rest. In the morning, I'm sure we'll have some answers.
Yeah, and he's like obviously disappointed, but he'll kind of take your cue, and he kind of beds down. And I think that we see like the old man is just kind of like leaned himself up against a rock in the cave, just holding onto his cane, and he's kind of like watching. And we see the camera kind of cuts to Jija, whose eyes, like, he's got his back to the cave wall, and he's laying on his side, and he's looking out, and he's like staring in the general direction of the boy. His whole body looks tense, like ready to pounce, in some sort of defensive posture, but he says nothing. And you all
He's
try
staring
to...
at the boy. The boy is in Jalen, or the thing that the guy that we saw is a boy.
The creature, yeah, the guy outside.
So he's a child.
He's young. I mean, he's like I said, early 20s. He looks pretty young.
Okay.
He's
You
not...
said boy. I'm thinking like he was like Jalen's age or something.
No,
like
he's not that young. No.
Okay.
And yeah, he's kind of watching outside, and we see, Faith taking watch over the young man outside, and we see the moon passing by and the stars moving through the sky, and that breeze that's blowing through the area. It's quite calm and nice. And yeah, Faith, the young man just appears to be, resting, a little fitful, considering what happened to his body. It kind of makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So, yeah, you guys, you take your watches. The people inside the cave, for the most part, do find some manner of rest. And then who was taking watch after Faith?
I was.
Okay, so Marcus, yeah, you kind of take over for Faith, and the young man continues to just, kind of turns and things, and it's obvious that he's in some pain, but he's all right.
Keep an eye on his fever, if you will, just in case infection sets in, and Faith will go, rest.
And
Will do.
Yeah, and you guys kind of exchange watches, and the night continues. off in the distance, you probably hear some like mild howling. But it's clearly not close. It's not, it's nowhere near as close as what it was earlier in the night.
So they made it away alive. Just say that to myself in the
Yeah,
night.
sure. Yeah, monologuing. Go for it. And yeah, you hear some mild howling in the wind, and the night continues. Young man, you're kind of watching Marcus as the night progresses. His body seems to relax more and more. Seems like the color to him is returning a bit. And then who are you trading watch off to? Yinkin?
Yinkin, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you trade off watch with Yinkin. Was anyone else watching? Like Giselle, were you taking watch at all?
I'm probably trancing outside with them.
Okay.
So I can be aware of what's going on, but still rest.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, Yinkin, you take your watch.
I'll tell them I heard the howls of more, possibly more of these. The two that we are missing.
Closer, farther,
Further.
oh, that's something at least.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh.
He also seems to be doing better.
Yeah, I
He
can see
was
that.
fitful, is calmed down now, so hopefully it's not because he's dying.
Nah, I don't think so. You don't breathe easier when you're dying. You just stop breathing.
Okay. Yeah. So Yinkin, you take last watch, and you kind of watch the boy. And is this? I guess this is the last watch of the night, or no? Are you taking the last 4 hours?
Yeah, and trance is only 4 hours, so I'll take a 4-hour watch. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you continue watching the boy as the night progresses. Yeah, he seems peaceful. Like he's breathing okay. Maybe you notice. Give me a perception check.
Okay. Nope.
Yeah, you don't really notice much.
I still occasionally look to see if I can figure out how he managed to change shapes.
Yeah, you're a little too focused on like the physics of it. So yeah, you don't notice the fact that his, he seems to be breathing easier, and some of his bruising seems to be rapidly healing. But you don't notice that. And the night passes fairly uneventfully. And you're awake, obviously, taking last watch when you start to feel like the temperature change, as the sun warms up and it starts to warm up the water of the river, and that breeze that got kind of cold throughout the night seems to warm up a little bit, and you get those first pre-dawn cracks of light over the rocks. And you start to hear in the distance, some cawing and bird song and things of that nature as the sun begins to rise.
So much better than the storm.
Excuse me. Yeah, and you're the first to watch the sunrise over the mesa, and it's quite beautiful. You get these beautiful oranges and these light browns cracking over the rocks. The water reflects beautifully over the river and through the trees. And you get to wake up to the, you're already awake, but you get to listen to the birds singing and some of the animals waking up and starting to get some water for the day and getting a little bit of food, and it's quite tranquil, except for the young man who is maybe dying in front of you. Not a bad night, all told. So yeah, Yinkin, you're the first awake. And why don't you give me another perception check?
It's a bit better.
It is just a little. So what you notice first thing is that something, as you're watching the sun kind of rise and you're observing this scene, you see a kind of silhouette that seems to is somehow standing on top of like one of the rock outcroppings, a couple, maybe a couple 100 feet from you. Can't really make out much of it. It looks human, and it seems to be facing you, and it seems armed. And it's really hard to catch because the silhouette looks like it's almost blending into the rock. But you just happen to look up, and the light's just hitting it the right way, and you're looking at it just the right angle that you can see this person just watching you.
I am going to very curiously actually just raise a hand in greeting.
And it doesn't move.
Huh. Maybe they're not a morning person.
You should become a morning person out here. As Faith walks out of the cave.
Yes, well, I'll tell that to the one on the mesa.
And to kind of squint to see what he's seeing.
Yeah, even with him pointing it out, I don't know, it's really hard to see.
Maybe you've been up too long. How's the boy? And I'm just gonna go check on
The boy. Oh, the boy. Better, not worse.
something.
Really. I may have gotten distracted. That being said, that person on the mesa, there was the glint of metal on them, so
You mean like a weapon?
most likely.
Well, you need weapons out here to survive.
Yeah, well. I am going to stretch, get up and crack. Ooh, sitting way too long.
Okay. So, as Yinkin is waking up, what do the rest of you do?
Oh, again, I got up and started checking on the boy.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you give me a medicine check?
It's a good sign that he's not dead, right?
Yeah, he's
Except I can't find the pulse anymore.
yeah, he looks pretty human to you.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Faith isn't a morning person either.
No, she's not.
He
In
looks
fairness,
fine to
Yinkin's a
me.
morning person by necessity.
Okay. So what do you guys do?
We should probably go see what's left at where they were before. If that other creature is going to make its way down towards the cave, or
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's all the same. I'll stay here again. Keep an eye on things here.
I'll go this time. I want to see a bear with a bird's head.
yeah, so maybe you should stay behind this time.
Really?
No offense.
I'm good at sneaking. Well,
Maybe you were
I'm
good at
sneaking
sneaking
things
in
out
a
of
city,
people's pockets.
but
I'm good
out
at
here,
sneaking things out of people's pockets. Okay.
Oh, you're one of those.
I only do it to no ability.
So what are you guys doing?
I think Giselle and I are staying behind while the boys go investigate the original scene.
Okay. All right. So, boys, are you gonna stealth back there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Roll stealth, please. Yeah, that's funny.
Really?
So you guys,
Sal, you stay back.
That
You're
was
too
worse
loud.
than me. That was worse than me.
so you guys think that you're moving very, very quietly. Giselle, you can hear them like
Crunch,
stomping
crunch.
their feet. Yeah, all the way away from the cave.
I'm looking at them
Shakes
so
her head.
confusedly. I thought you were. Didn't you say we wanted to be quiet?
Shh.
We're hunting rabbits.
Giselle just turns to Faith and just shakes her head like, really?
Maybe it's the morning.
Perhaps.
So you guys head away, and you go back the way you came from before, and you kind of cross up, along the river and head down to where you had seen the kind of fight brewing the night before, and takes you a few minutes to get back there. And as you kind of crest up over, you see the kind of tree and the river bending, and you don't see an owlbear. You don't see the body of another owlbear, but you do see what looks to be a ravaged corpse of a human that's just laying on its back in the open sun. And as you're kind of overlooking the scene, you see well, we'll get there. But that's what you see when you first look over.
Yinkin almost throws up.
Well, there's only one body.
Does it look just like mauled, or does it look like it had been eaten partially as well?
Mauled is a good way to put it.
If he was traveling with the one in our camp, you may want to ensure that he's buried properly. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Maybe we should wrap him up and bring him back.
Wrap him in what?
Let's leave him be for now. We should see if we can find any signs of where anybody else went.
Yeah, I'm going to start looking for tracks. Specifically of the bear type tracks.
Okay.
Can I help him by describing the bear a little bit better, like size and shape, so you can kind of get an idea of what size tracks to be looking for?
I mean, yeah, he already rolled.
Sorry, I'll wait next time.
That's okay. I mean, you still got an 18 and a 20, so I mean, the tracks are pretty big. It's not hard for you to see. They basically move away from they definitely didn't pass in front of the cave or anything. They just seem to sort of arc around and follow the river. But it does look like the tracks. It appears like they were dragging something.
Are there blood trails?
Give me since you asked, give me I think a perception check. Maybe investigation. Well, that works. So yeah, Gabriel, you begin looking around and you see quite a bit of blood splatter. I mean, it looks almost like a massacre. There's quite a bit of dried blood on the ground. And as you're kind of looking around, looking at the blood, presumably you have to get pretty close to the human body. And that's when you notice something potentially strange. You're seeing blood everywhere. It looks like there was definitely some sort of battle here. But specifically with regards to this human body, its heart is missing. like it's been carved out.
But that's odd. I haven't met a lot of wild animals in my life, but I wouldn't expect them to do something like that.
What did you find?
Do something like what?
I immediately point that out to them. It's like this man's heart has been carved completely out.
Oh god, think of it like butchering a pig.
I'd like to take a closer look at it. Does it look like it was cleanly cut out or like ripped out by force?
I feel like a check here, maybe investigation, maybe medicine. Its heart is missing.
Now, other than the tracks that Yinkin saw with the blood trails, do any of them like leave the area like different directions? For example, the man that made his way to our camp, would we note like what direction he went in and what direction maybe some of the others went? Or is it just too much of a mess?
It's pretty messy. I mean, there's quite a bit of a mess. You see a lot of tracks, so following those specific tracks would maybe prove a bit difficult. Because Yankin specifically asked about the owl bear. If you'd like to try to make a roll to follow the tracks of the other canine creatures, I would let you do that. If you want to make a survival check. Okay. Yeah, so you pay more attention to the specific kinds of tracks, and they do actually at first seem to be moving in different directions, and then after a few feet they seem to kind of fall in line and move off in a single track. Like they were definitely headed in the same direction.
So this guy that made it to our camp wasn't alone. So that thing you thought you saw probably was another person. Yinkin.
You said that thing had a weapon or metal of some sort.
Certainly looked like it.
Does this human body have any weapon on him that we can see, obviously?
No obvious weapon.
But this guy and the guy back at our camp don't have any weapons. So maybe it's someone else.
More questions.
I wish we knew more about this place.
I think we need to find on our way back to camp. This guy in our camp's gonna hopefully has some answers.
Agreed.
So, meanwhile, you guys are investigating the scene. You know, this maybe takes you an hour, maybe two. Back at camp, Faith and Giselle, how are you spending that time?
Again, Faith tries to like string the line and makes a weak attempt at fishing, and she and Giselle kind of, do you know how to fish? It's in the chat.
I don't know how to fish.
Okay. So that's basically what you're doing. You're just spending your time like trying to figure out how to fish.
Yeah, and again, so Faith's response was, the basic idea, to my understanding, is just throw in the line and hope something's stupid enough to bite the hook.
Okay.
Sounds. I mean, fish are pretty stupid, right?
I mean, maybe
They seem stupid.
it's something. We'll find out.
Okay. And so as you guys are trying to teach yourselves how to fish, you hear some groaning coming from the man. You know, he's still he doesn't appear conscious. But he's making some noises. He's groaning a little bit. And the two of you hear a voice. A very human voice. Sounds rather distinctly like a woman. And the voice just says, "You'll never catch anything like that."
What?
My first instinct, because Jija, I think, hasn't said much. I think it's her, and I kind of look for her.
Well,
He's just the guy.
yeah, it's
Oh.
Dala.
maybe-
But
Dala, that's it. Sorry, my notes are fixed up.
Well, maybe you could enlighten us then.
and you guys kind of turn back,
Mhm.
and Dala is just like sitting with her back to the cave. She's sitting outside of the cave, like not far from you, and she like looks at you cockeyed and shrugs. She said, "That wasn't me."
I'd like to look for the source of the voice then.
Give me a perception check. Good work.
I look into the water.
Yeah, Faith just like stares and thinks a fish is talking to her.
Hey, she's got -1 wisdom. It makes sense.
You insulted the fish's intelligence. Now it's yelling at you.
Giselle, you're more adept in the moment of figuring out, like triangulating where the sound is coming from. And you kind of look back, and standing above the cave mouth on the rock, in a similar fashion as to what Marcus was doing before, is a woman. She appears to be about 6 feet tall, maybe slightly taller. Very dark of skin. Her hair is pulled up and back. Her hair on the sides and back appears to be kind of shaved. And she's wearing what looks to be some very fine leather armor. Worn and ragged, but still of fine construction. She carries with her what appears to be a longbow. And in her hand is what appears to be a kind of spear or javelin. Very dark of skin, very light-eyed, though. Her eyes almost look gold in the sunlight. Very dark hair. She has a kind of bag that she wears on her hip, like a small pouch. And she's just
Wow.
glaring down at you.
Well, you're a tall drink of water, aren't you?
She just kind of squints at you.
Are you a friend of his?
Once. Perhaps. No longer.
What changed?
Who are you? From where do you come?
I look at Giselle.
Why should we lie to her, to be honest?
Do you actually say that, or you just kind of give her the look?
Yeah, she just kind of like shrugs.
return
It's like,
look.
what's the point of lying?
Bastion.
Bastion.
And her eyes kind of squint again.
My name is Faith. This is Giselle.
My name is Giselle.
Well. And she just shrugs.
Can we ask the same of you? Who are you and where are you from?
And there's a pause. I need to take him with me.
Well, I don't think we should fight her for him.
Why? Can we come with you, actually?
What exactly is he?
corrupted.
Oh.
That's why he had fur? Is that some kind of curse of the land?
You ask too many questions.
To be fair, you never answered our first. And we have answered 2 of yours.
We're inquisitive people.
I'll be taking him now.
Can I insight check her to see if I can figure out her intent with him, considering the corrupted comment?
Okay.
Damn.
Hard to say.
Mm.
She means to do something with him, but you just have no idea what.
We were hoping to get some answers from him about the area. If you're going to take him, maybe you could give us the answers in trade?
It's only fair. Nothing out here's fair yet, hasn't it?
You've done well to survive this far. Few who come from that place that you do are in the kind of health you are. Are you hunters?
I am a mage.
Maybe one of us was, but I am an artist, a musician.
And she actively scoffs at that. Like her face kind of twists up and she scoffs. I doubt that.
Excuse me?
You have nothing I need.
Except for the body. And I'm going to be moving closer to the boy.
And she smiles in such a way that shows teeth.
I will return it, because my teeth are probably sharper.
And she says, I will take him from you.
I'd like to use minor illusion, and I'm going to make a crackle of thunder to alert the boys that there's trouble.
Huh?
Oh. Yeah, so you guys just hear like a crack of thunder off in the distance. And you've seen, of course, maybe Yinkin for you, this is a little jarring because you're expecting to see a storm.
Yeah, I start looking at the skies like, oh god, not again.
There's a few clouds, but they're all nice and white and fluffy, like thin little narrow desert clouds. No sign of storm whatsoever for you.
I made the same sound to scare away the birds, though.
Shit. They might be in trouble.
What's that, Lassie? Timmy's in a well?
Boom, boom!
Is that what thunder means?
Faith, I don't think we should fight her.
We need answers. We're not just gonna let her take him without them.
I'm not gonna get any answers if we try and attack her.
You should listen to your friend. I don't wish to harm you.
We may not have anything you need, but either you or he has something we desperately need. Answers. Help. Something.
I wish to help him, if only you will but let me. And at this moment, the young man begins to like cough a little bit. He seems to be rousing to some level of consciousness.
You're not gonna kill him.
And yeah, the young man starts just kind of coughing up a little bit, and you hear a groan of pain as he kind of comes to some level of consciousness. And he
How close to him am I now?
I imagine you're like basically over top of him. Like you're
Right,
you know. And his eyes begin to open.
Yeah, so Faith's gonna... There's a woman here. She calls you corrupted. She wants to take you away. We helped you last night, if you remember that much. And just to kind of see what his reaction is while keeping my eye on the woman.
Yeah, and his eyes clearly look up to her. And a little smile crosses his face. He says, "Did you kill them too?" She says, "You're blasphemers. Corruption that needs to be cut away." And he just like smiles. He says, "Doesn't have to end like this, Raquela."
Could you put that in chat, please?
Mm-hmm. And she just shakes her head solemnly. You've been twisted up and corrupted. You're unnatural. It's my job to take you out of this world. And he just coughs up, obviously in a bit of pain. And he just kind of says to you, Faith, "Well, next move is yours." And Raquela just seems to be staring at him.
We don't know the rules of the land out here, and we're not going to learn them without answers. Saying this to Raquela.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the body, tell us why. Help us understand. This corruption that you speak of, we know nothing of it.
You are outsiders. You have no business meddling in our affairs.
Well,
Except we're outsiders too. Our own culture.
It'll be easier.
Go ahead.
It'll be easier not to meddle in your affairs if we know how to avoid them.
Or you could just return to the hell you came from.
See, we kind of can't do that.
I don't care what you do. Just stay out of my way.
Well, see, we don't quite understand how we're in your way. When we healed one of your people, corrupted or otherwise, we're trying to take care of them. We don't understand.
And I think at about this time, the boys are probably returning, cresting that hill. And I think Raquela just kind of jumps down and lands very deftly on the ground, like a foot away from Dala. And Dala's just not moving. She's just watching this entire thing. And Gija's been kind of hanging out in the cave. And the boys are returning, and she's armed. Like, she's not in an offensive pose yet. She seems very calm. Physically, anyway. And she stands before you. I tire of this. I don't have all day. And Gija, for the first time, kind of pops his head out of the cave.
The moment she reaches, I'm going to prepare a spell, so if she reaches for one of our allies, I can cast it.
What are you holding?
Charm person.
Okay. For the first time, Gija kind of pops his head out, and he says, "He's a monster. Let her take him. Just let her. You're endangering all of us." And I think that's what you guys hear as Gabriel, Marcus, and Yinkin kind of like cross over into this scene. If you don't mind, though, I need like 45 seconds. I gotta pee. Let me be right back.
No worries.
Okay.
Quick, who do we side with, werewolves or werewolf hunters?
Seeing as the werewolf hunter has no intention of helping us, and won't even, and from the indication, it's that we're getting, shafted, even if we, do take her side. Fuck her.
What if they're both
Cool.
werewolves and there's something different about him?
Doesn't matter. He's the outsider, so
I mean, if we take his side and we kill her, she has weapons that we can pass out to the party as well.
Well, I mean,
Truth.
she also has an organization that might not be too happy about
We
us.
don't know that. She could just be the clan assassin
What?
for the corrupted. We don't know that there's a whole organization of them.
Well, it seems to me like that, but you're right. Just neither option seems good.
I'm leaning towards werewolves just because they're. I mean, based
He
on that
has
conversation,
reason to help us too, because we helped him.
Yeah, and
Well, here's the other way to look at this, is that these people can't be the only ones around. So there has to be another group of people where these people came from. Are werewolves going to be with them, or is this person hunting the werewolves going to be with the people? I think the woman that is hunting the werewolves is going to be a part of this society. And these werewolves are going to be outsiders, as we're aware living in this cave and stuff like that. So maybe if we side with her, whether she takes us with her or we could follow her, and it'll take us back to more people. Camp, a city, maybe.
Okay, I'm back. Just enjoying your postulations.
Fair, but Faith really has no desire to trust her. At the moment,
We have no
go
reason to
that
trust
way.
him.
Yeah, but essentially, Faith is more willing to side with this guy because clearly he's being hunted, and she understands that being persecuted for being different.
also he's the underdog, and we're all the underdogs. So
That was an awful pun.
That was a great unintentional pun.
I'm so confused.
underdog, werewolf.
Wolf, underdog.
Yeah, over my blonde head.
So,
Anyway,
the boys return to camp,
sees Faith standing over the boy.
sees Jija popping his head out and saying, let her take him. You guys see this woman that you've not seen before now. What do you do?
I'm going to assume I know the answer is I can't tell, but does this look to be the same person I vaguely saw earlier? Same basic height, stuff like that, or were they too far away to tell the first time?
No, it looks to be about the same shape.
Well, you caught up to us.
And she just kind of smiles a little crack of a smile. You're not difficult to track.
I would imagine not.
She just turns her attention back to Faith. She says, listen to your friends. And she kind of gestures with a hand back at Jija. He's dangerous.
Everybody's dangerous to him. He can't defend himself.
Why is he dangerous, though? Maybe if you explain that, we'll understand.
You saw what he is.
I don't understand what he is.
It isn't natural.
How would I know that? I've been living in a city all my life.
Also,
It's
nothing
from when
out here
dogs were
seems
red.
natural.
You have storms without rain.
You have cactuses
moving
that
plants.
walk. You have beetles that burst from the rock faces.
They don't
Dead creatures that suck all your water out.
She says, she kind of interrupts you, Marcus. They don't have beetles where you're from.
Well, they do, but they're not like this. And she pulls a couple of them out of her pack.
Oh, the shiny. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of her eyebrows kind of raises as she sees them. You said you had nothing for trade.
Oh,
You didn't ask for trade.
yes, she did.
No, I did. I wanted to trade his body for answers.
Are these worth? These are worth something. I mean, they were kind of cool and shiny. I'll trade them.
Then we have reason to continue speaking.
Ooh.
Oh, good. Polite people.
Who are
Much
you?
better than the last vague person.
She just sighs. Can I take him now? Please?
No.
You would allow his corruption to infect the land, to infect the spirits of men.
We don't know what his corruption is.
We also don't know why you're telling the truth. So no.
What truth do you think I have to offer you?
You have offered nothing, so why would we offer you anything?
You've entered our camp. We haven't shown any hostility towards you. We do have questions. Why don't you join us for breakfast? Sit down. We can discuss this. And if your story is true, if your story is compelling, we'll happily comply with anything that you request.
And when it is not, when you decide that what I have to offer isn't what you want, you'll just threaten to kill me.
When have we done that?
You think I'm alone out here?
You're the only one implying that. I'm saying that we sit down and discuss things.
Is that the rule out here? Things are either your friend or trying to kill you.
Well, to be
It
fair,
seems
that's about
like-
all we've seen with the creatures.
And she
I'm
kind of
aware
like
of that.
gestures to Faith as if to say, like, yes, that is in fact the case.
So what are you, friend or trying to kill us? Pick one right now. If you're a friend, you'll have breakfast, we'll talk, we'll have answers. If you're trying to kill us, well, that's good to know too.
I have no interest in killing you.
Then you must be a friend. Here, have breakfast.
I
You
was
said
waiting
yourself
for you to
those are the two options.
hand her a berry.
That's what I'm doing. I'm making the berries. Clap my hands, rub them together, open 10 berries.
Our meals are very sparse.
Why don't we make this a group check? Let's
We don't have a lot of this time.
Burn a spell slot.
I feel like it's a persuasion, unless some of you feel like you're not trying to persuade. Like Faith, you're not being very persuasive with her. It's more, I don't want to say intimidation, but like if you feel like you're doing something other than persuasion, you can offer that to roll. Does that make sense?
Inviting
Yeah.
her for breakfast and that, I was absolutely trying to...
You were, yes, but I feel like some
calm
other
us.
people necessarily, because Marcus is being kind of,
Antagonistic.
I was
yes.
trying to persuade until she didn't refuse to even answer questions, and yeah, I became a little antagonistic because again, Faith has been marginalized. She understands that,
And I think
but I still think it's persuasion.
I think I picked
not
up
trying
on
to intimidate her.
Faith's antagonistic vibe and went further, like clearly seeing tension between those two.
I mean,
But I'm treating this outsider as if she's a potential like serious threat to us.
My intention was to de-escalate things. And,
I know, which has only served to complicate because now you guys have like mixed signals toward her. So,
I'm definitely trying to persuade her.
yeah, I feel like Gabriel, Yinkin, and Giselle are trying to persuade. So
I
I
mean,
don't.
not like just a straight charisma check.
Well, that or. I kind of have an idea. I don't know. This isn't technically in the rules, but how about Gabriel, Giselle, and Yinkin roll persuasion, and then Faith and Marcus roll intimidation.
Okay.
Oh dear God.
Oh, man.
Okay, so
And also I have advantage because I offered breakfast.
okay,
Definitely threw that average off there.
you really did. But how I was basically basing that is like, and it skews in a hard direction. But whoever got the higher roll between the two groups basically would win. And in this case, it was Gabriel, Giselle, and Yinkin, even though Yinkin botched the roll. Because if you look at it, they scored 33, whereas Faith and Marcus got 30. So it was really close.
Yeah, but that's an average of 11 for them and 15
Yeah, and
for
15
us.
for us.
Mm-hmm. Still, though. Wait, it's an average?
Average is divided by the total, so that's 3 versus 2.
Yeah, so their average is 11 per person, and
I
ours
heard
is
really
15
bad.
per person.
Well, but I was saying like the total rolls. You know what I mean? Not
Oh,
the
okay, the
averages.
total score. Gotcha.
Yeah, because technically
majority rules kind of thing.
Yeah, the three of them had a better chance because the three of them were trying to, as opposed to you, but there was still a possibility that you guys were going to win that. You almost did if one of the other ones had botched their roll.
Maybe Yinkin got advantage because he gave her food too, because he did make the.
She's not going to take your food.
My food's not good enough?
She definitely does not trust you enough to take your food. So, she will just kind of shrug and look to all of you. We may speak. I insist he be tied up. Obviously, referencing the young man.
How does his leg look?
Better. I don't know if it's wholly healed, but it looks considerably healed from the night before.
I kind of shrug when she says it because I actually implied it the night before that I wanted to have him tied up. So I don't feel 100% comfortable around him either.
All right.
I have no problems tying him up. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think that's completely reasonable. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
See, we
Fair
can
enough.
be reasonable.
And while I'm going to start handing out berries because, yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Can
We
you
tried
make
to
different
get-
flavor berries? I ask him as I take one. Or is it always this one flavor?
You know, I've never tried. I'll try tomorrow.
Just a little variety might be nice.
Yeah, well, no, I don't argue that. This used to be something I didn't do all the time.
No, I totally understand, yeah.
Okay. So you guys tie him up, and she will give you a little bit of time to state your case, as it were. She's never far from him, though. And he is completely conscious now, and he is tied up, and super not pleased about it. And Jija seems to be... he creeps a little closer to her as this is kind of happening. Like, he won't, like, sit directly next to her, but he kind of, in terms of sides, like, he definitely agrees that you should get rid of him.
And just for record's sake, I released the spell. I don't cast it.
Okay.
I let it go.
Sure.
Once, maybe even while they're tying him up, I approach her. I go to shake her hand. I put my hand out at least. I introduce myself. My name is Gabriel. If there's a stump or anything, maybe a rock, I will dust it off and kind of gesture to it, offering her to have a seat. And then I'll sit down next to it, whether she chooses to sit or not.
She looks at your hand, doesn't shake it, mostly because she seems like she doesn't know what to do with it.
Okay.
And then she just, like, you sit, and she remains standing. She does, however, say to you as you introduce yourself, I am Raquela.
I hope you understand, there's more than just a bit of confusion going on here. We've left Bastion. I believe they explained where we came from over a week ago, and you're actually the first person we've been able to speak with. We are looking for answers. We are very interested to know what's out here, and hopefully you could give us some information. If this boy, if he's trouble, if he's tainted, as you say, I mean, these could be more dangers that you can explain to us. This is all new to us. You need to explain, or do you need to understand the scenario, the situation that we're in?
She just shakes her head. I know what you are. I know from where you come. It is not my responsibility to teach you the ways of the world. I hope you understand that. I have my own life, my own business, my own things to tend to. I am not your guide.
But you understand we all have our beginnings. You weren't just born an adult. You were born a child. You were probably raised. You were taught.
You are not children.
But this is new to us, just like it would be for a child. We're just
What if
looking
we
for
paid you?
information.
What did you say, Giselle?
What if we paid you to be our guide? With the shiny beetle shell things.
We're not helpless either. We could assist you. If your cause is worthy, maybe we could join you. I don't think we're asking for a lot.
I do.
You're asking for a man who has done us no harm. You're also
Yes.
asking for a lot.
And you haven't even told us your name.
Actually, she did.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Well,
No, she didn't.
She
He
told.
said her name. She never
No.
said. She never told us her name. I
No,
asked her who she was. She didn't say it.
She did.
We
actually.
both did, but she introduced herself to Gabriel.
Oh, to
not
Gabriel.
us.
Okay. Wasn't listening to that part. I say you've still told us almost nothing.
You say we have to believe you and that this is your duty and that he's a danger. So, some proof would be wonderful.
You saw what he was. What more proof do you need?
And when people saw what I was, they cast me out. Because I could make plants grow a little bit better. I don't always trust other people's opinion.
And I
What
have
caused
horns
this?
and a tail, and I was cast out for being different. But
What we saw was
I
an
get
injured
caught doing
man,
different things.
someone who was dying before our camp.
She just shakes her head in like almost disbelief, like she doesn't understand why you guys care this much about a complete stranger. She looks at you, Faith. She says, "You were born that way. He chose this life. He chose the corruption."
How do you choose that? What caused this?
Ours is
Again.
a group of hunters, gatherers, protectors of the Northlands. We come from a place not far from here, the Mesa. She kind of like points generally in the direction of the southwest, which you've been heading toward. Some hunters, after a time, they begin to succumb to the hunt.
Oh, so she's one too. Yeah.
Unfortunately, one such as this, she points down at the young man, it twists them up inside. They become feral. They become a danger to us, to the lands.
I turn to the young man and say, "Are you a danger to us?"
And he
Is
just...
he conscious?
he is conscious, yeah, he's just tied up. And he just smiles. He says, "I'm no threat to you at all. None
Well, all right.
whatsoever."
Can we incite that?
I think he's full of shit.
Yeah, you can insight him.
yeah, I'd like to assist. If it's necessary.
I mean, Gabriel, if you want to roll again.
Just in case you crit or get way
Jesus.
better.
Well,
So
you're
close.
consistent.
Yeah.
Faith
19 in it.
concurs with whatever he comes up with.
Given the opportunity, he would love the challenge of hunting you. She looks at him, and there's an anger that flashes in her face. Do you see now? He was innocent once. He is no longer. As were his friends. And then the young man sort of like growls and tries to spit in her direction. He says, "And you killed them too!" And you see this unbelievable like fury cross his face. And she remains completely calm. Do you see?
I do. My immediate concern, we saw them last night. There were 4 of them. We went back to the location this morning. Obviously, he's here. There's one body up there. I presume either yourself or one of your kind cut his heart out. But the other two, did they escape?
They were dealt with.
Why did you cut his heart? Well, first things first, we shouldn't blame you automatically. Did you cut the other one's heart out? And if so, why?
You see how they heal? How wounded he was last night?
I actually haven't paid much attention to him yet, so I'm going to look at him.
He was human this morning. No
so
fur,
that
no
stops the
anything.
healing? Fascinating.
Holy crap, his legs actually...
Basically fully healed at this point. He might be moving with a bit
He's
of a
got some
limp.
new muscles.
That was turned the other way. Even I take longer to heal.
Well, Raquel, I certainly don't doubt what you say, and this is why communication is important. That's why this conversation was needed. I kind of look to the rest of the party as I don't see why we would prevent her from taking him, quite honestly.
Yeah, after that last outburst.
Will you allow us to come with you?
Why?
Will you stop us from following you?
Because I'd like to meet somebody out here that doesn't try to kill us besides you. And because we probably desperately need to resupply. We've been eating berries literally every day for almost 12 days.
And you said yourself we'd never catch fish with that.
You
We
tried
need
to catch
help.
fish?
We need to learn to survive out here because we can't go back.
At least
We're
not
not
yet.
worthless
yet.
either, so if there are services that you would require, we can provide service.
That
Who knows?
decision
I'm not
is
the
not
only one
mine
that-
to make.
Well, I'd be happy to meet the person who makes that decision.
I nod in agreement with Gabriel.
She appears to be thinking for a moment. And suddenly, like, in almost like an outburst, Jija kind of like frantically gets up on his knees and looks at her and like grabs onto her wrist. He says, please take us with you. These weirdos, they please, is it safe? And he's like begging her. And she like very casually just pushes him.
Now.
She just like casually pushes him down and he kind of falls back and looks at her. I expect you to keep up. I won't be your guide. But no. And she looks at you, Marcus, like a little bit of anger. Not like fury, like she doesn't want to kill you, but like she notices your antagonism and is returning it in her own way, and she says, but I can't stop you from following me. That is, if you can keep up. And she just turns to like walk out of the cave.
Raquel, thank you for your time. It was nice talking with you.
Oh, lay off, dude. Tuck it away.
I actually think that was sarcasm, Faith.
Oh, Faith is just... Yeah, no, that was...
In fairness, you were a little standoffish for the first few days, too.
Yes, but I'm also not trying to bang every other woman here. Well, man. Point is, we're packing up so we can keep up.
Are you all going to follow her?
Hell yeah.
Going to make the
Yeah.
attempt.
Okay.
It's the first sign of civilization we've seen, so...
Okay. All right. So yeah, you guys pack up your shit and you're going to follow her out. Fascinating. Okay. So why don't we take our break here?
Yes.
And then
Yes, I need popcorn for what comes next.
we'll meet back here in about 10 minutes. Let's say about quarter after.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
Cool. switch my scenes back. Okay, so yeah, you guys, Raquela kind of begins to head out, and you guys are gonna follow. Now, what do you do with the young man? Are you gonna let her take him, or what's the plan there?
I imagine however she wanted to take him out. If she stood him up and walked him out tied up, that's
Yeah.
her prerogative.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't.
Faith was swayed.
Yeah, she doesn't really want to hike with him. That's obviously going to make life a bit difficult.
But it'll be easier for us to keep up.
Well, the implication here is that she just wants to end him and move on. The question here is, are you going to let her?
I won't stop her.
After seeing the body of the other man and just getting that whole back and forth and the way that he responded, I would not stop her.
Okay. Yeah,
I think we're learning how things work out here, and that's.
Yeah, she'll kind of take him in his bonds from you, and she'll look to you and simply say, "You may watch if you wish." And she just sort of like walks away with him. I think she probably like walks him back to where the owlbear fight was.
I'll watch.
Okay.
It's morbid curiosity that Faith follows.
Yeah. And he starts to struggle and everything as they're walking, but it doesn't seem to be doing him any amount of good. He keeps trying regardless. And as she approaches and he sees the body of a fallen comrade, he kind of begins to struggle some more, and she just shakes her head, and she's quite strong, you notice. I mean, she's basically holding him with one arm behind the back, and he starts to struggle as he sees his fallen friend. And she just like flips him around and looks him in the face. She just shakes her head. He says, "I'll find you again, Raquela. I'll find you, and I'll hunt you. And I'll be praised forever for it." Shakes her head. "Your corrupted beliefs will ban you from the hunt forever." And he just snarls at her, and she just takes her dagger and like impales him through the chest. And his whole body goes stiff. And he's just like baring teeth at her the entire time. You see the blood start to pour out of his mouth. And she just kind of gently like lays him back on his back next to his fallen comrade as he's dying in front of her. And he's got this blood pouring out of his mouth onto his chest as she brings him down. And he coughs up at the last with almost the last breath and says, "This is no way for a hunter to kill." She just again like somber shakes her head. "This is a mercy, old friend." And like just jams the knife all the way down, and his whole body lurches, and you see the blood like splash out, and he dies. And she takes a few minutes and begins to carve out his heart. She's sadly kind of adept at it. Just takes her a few minutes. Jalen, the boy, is watching with an absolutely horrified fascination. Like, he just wants to glare at this. Chandra is, of course, like, panicked, and I think she probably goes to throw up. Gigi's not happy to watch it, and Dalif kind of finds a reason to, like, walk away. Just, she doesn't want to observe it at all. And Raquela is efficient, if nothing else. and she removes the heart. And she just kind of settles the body. She cuts the binds from him and lays him next to his fallen comrade. And she, like, pulls out this pouch that she has and puts the heart in it. It's all bloody and covered in viscera, and she seems to, like, drop it in this pouch. It's got a drawstring. She pulls it very, very tight and, like, ties the thing off. And you see that the boy's body is just lying there. And she kind of looks up and dusts herself off and looks at all of you.
Do you not bury them in your culture?
Or burn them.
Corrupting the land and the air, perhaps, is a concern.
The corruption has been freed from him. Their flesh will feed the wildlife, which we will come back to hunt. The great cycle. Don't slow
Incan
me
nods a
down.
bit at that one.
She just says, "Don't slow me down," and begins to, like, jog off.
Come on, everyone. Come on, grandfather.
And I think that the old man kind of, like, limps up to the bodies and kind of takes his cane and pokes them a bit. And there's, like, a kind of a pleased look on his face. And
You are one morbid old man.
And Jalen actually stops and is, like, staring at them. And he's, like, looking at the holes in their chest. Chandra is, like, walking past with her mouth over her hand over her mouth. She obviously is trying not to vomit. Yeah, and I'm assuming, does anyone else, like, stop or anything before following Raquela out?
Nope.
No.
No.
Okay. So you begin to follow her, and she's quite adept at moving through the land. She actually pauses very briefly, maybe about a half a mile away from where you were. And she picks up, kind of like hidden up in a tree, she had like a pack. And it's got like a small quiver with more arrows. She already had arrows, but she has more. She has a small pack, presumably with some supplies and a bedroll. And she just like yanks it out of the tree and continues forth again, really not slowing down at all. And she pushes you pretty hard. She begins traversing the land. For a while, she kind of breaks off from the river, cuts back around. You guys probably travel for a good 6 hours, and the mesa is getting ever closer. And every so often... Go ahead.
Does the landscape change any? Does it get greener, less green?
A little greener, but mostly more of the same, very rocky. The river flows through. You get more trees the further southwest you go. There's more trees, more shrubbery, I guess. So in that way, yes, there's more green.
Okay.
But very occasionally she stops, and you see her kind of listening and looking. And she doesn't really turn back to face you guys. But she keeps moving. And she does that maybe every little once in a while. She kind of stops and looks around. And you continued through. You kind of hit a point where a number of trees are kind of grouped up, maybe 5 or 6, in a relatively small area. She kind of stops, looks around, and it's about sunset at this point. And she kind of waits for you guys to catch up. I mean, she's a good bit ahead of you, but not so far that you don't lose her. And she kind of stops in this copse of trees. And you see her begin to, like, pull her pack off. She kind of waits for you to catch up.
I thought you said you wouldn't wait for us. Not that I'm complaining.
I
Would you
really
like-
hate walking.
Would you like to camp for the night? It's late.
God, yes. God, yes.
If we're that far away from our destination, and you feel it's necessary, of course.
It isn't necessary for me at all. I don't do this for me.
Well, I think that's very considerate of you. I appreciate that.
And she's
I going to insight check her and see if she's planning on losing us in the night.
okay. No, she seems to be on the level. Like she's for whatever reason being kind of nice to you, and she's going to let you take a rest. She doesn't want to abandon you.
Aw, she likes us more than she pretends she does.
I mean, it's hard for her not to
Appreciate
like
it.
her, like you guys less.
Yeah, we can only go up.
Mm-hmm. So you guys begin to camp out. She basically lays her bedroll down. She makes very little attempt to make camp, right? She basically just throws her bedroll down, and that's about the extent of it. You guys can set up a fire or anything if you want, but she doesn't seem to have an interest in it.
I am going to cast Create Water, as always, so we can refill our skins and stuff, and offer her if she needs to.
Yeah, she actually has a water skin. You saw her drink from it rarely during your travels. She pulled from it maybe once or twice.
If you'd like fresh water, there's still some.
She just kind of like nods at you. You guys all settle down to camp. Is there anything you would do?
Faith does her usual kind of, plays a little bit of music to kind of decompress.
I'm almost partially disappointed because I was going to kind of watch her, and since we've only been in the wild like a weekish, I was going to try to get some tips on what she does to set up camp, and just knowing that she just plopped down more or less is kind of disappointing to me. I thought I was going to learn something. But,
I'm going to study
Didn't
these
happen.
trees, considering they look very different than what I'm used to from Bastion and the dead ones in the Badlands. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You cut off on me.
No, I accidentally muted myself because I'm a moron. So,
I wasn't talking to you, but okay.
oh, rude. Why weren't you talking to me? So, yeah, you guys camp out, and the night is quiet. You're not directly next to the river. It's probably a couple 100 feet from you. Yeah, but she really has no interest in talking. You can try to talk to her if you want, but she's mostly just about.
I'll try and talk to her.
Okay.
Because I'm a pain in the ass like that. Okay, so she seemed a little bit interested in the beetle things that I had, so I'm gonna bring a handful over to her.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to think that these were worth trading.
Possibly.
Do you know what they are?
Do you not know what they are?
Nope. All I know is they were really pretty and magical.
They are the shell of a beetle.
Well, that I know. We fought them.
Then what else do you expect me to tell you?
Do you know what they would be worth? Are they magical?
She kind of shrugs.
I
That
feel
is not my domain.
Do you know if there's anybody in your tribe that would trade for them? I could really use some spell components.
Yes, there are those of would take them. Yes.
Sweet. That's cool. So, I have a question. How?
You have many.
Yes, I do. I'm a woman of learning, okay? How old was that guy back there?
She kind of shrugs. I couldn't say exactly. Why is that important?
Well, he looked really young. Was he older than, say, 20.
He was possibly around that.
Huh. Does it always come so early, the corruption?
And she kind of glares at you for a minute. Age has no reflection on the corruption. It takes old and young alike.
That sounds really scary.
Not
Will
so
you fall
scary.
to corruption? Will you fall to corruption someday?
And like you can see the look on her face is just aggravated. Like what you just said is really offensive to her.
I'm sorry. I don't really understand.
That much is obvious.
Well, I'll leave you alone. She scurries away.
Okay. So you kind of like scamper off.
Yep.
Okay. How does anybody else approach or anything like that?
I
not-
give her distance.
What kind of trees are these?
You know, the leafy kind.
Fantastic. I'd like to. Is there like a fallen branch that I could take with us? I want to start wood carving it as I go.
I mean, you could pull one off. You could pull a branch off. These
No, I
trees
didn't
are-
want to take it off a living tree. I was hoping to have a fallen branch.
Well, these trees are pretty healthy. I mean, they don't, you know, they're not like Bastion where the trees are basically falling apart. You know, these trees have, you know, significant water and sunlight. They seem pretty strong. You could, like I said, you could try to pull a branch off.
No, again, was looking for like driftwood or deadwood, but no, that's fine. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Seems like this place is pretty healthy that way.
That's even better. I wouldn't want to disturb that.
Okay. So yeah, you guys lay down to rest. Anything else that happens in the night?
I assume we all still take watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's normal watches.
Okay.
I'll take the last 4 hours.
Okay. So yeah, you
I'll
guys.
take the first.
Double up on some of the other couple of hours between.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys take a couple watches. And
Rolex. Sorry.
excuse me, coughing. Yeah, so just a moment here. So who's taking first watch?
I will,
Me.
as well as
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys you begin to take watch, and why don't you two make me a perception check?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so the night is pretty quiet. You know, a few clouds overhead. Everyone seems to be sleeping pretty well. Jija has sort of like crept himself a little closer to Raquela's bedroll. And, you know, Jalen is sleeping soundly. He's had a long day. You know, you guys are all pretty tired from the hike. And because, you know, Raquela didn't slow down too much for you. And I think off in the distance, Marcus, you probably hear some howling in the night. But it's
same type of howling we've been hearing.
Possibly, yeah. It's kind of hard to say. This is much further away. It's definitely nowhere near. Like it's definitely not within a general proximity of you. It's got to be pretty far away.
Just out there somewhere, yeah. Echoing.
Out there somewhere among the pretty stars. Yeah, the night seems to pass pretty quietly for you. And who takes next watch? Yinkin?
And I will.
Yinkin and Faith? Okay. Why don't you guys make perception checks? Yinkin, you hear more of this, howling off in the distance. You hear the wind blowing. The trees rustling in the wind right around you. Faith, unfortunately, are you just distracted? Like, what's going on?
I think I'm a little paranoid about the woman leaving us.
Okay.
So I'm more keeping an eye on her than the outside surroundings.
Okay. Yeah, and she seems to be just resting. You're not sure if she's sleeping or not. If she is, it's probably got to be a light sleep, but yeah, she seems to make no attempt to leave that you can see. Is that the last watch or somebody else? Well, Yinkin gets his 4 hours, so
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys finish your watches, and Raquela wakes up early, like before the sun. She gets up, starts rolling up her bedroll. You see her, Yinkin. She kind of makes eye contact with you first thing in the morning.
Just give her a polite nod.
She says, "Do you normally wake them?"
In a few more hours. They require more rest than me. The old and the young, particularly.
She says to you, "So, what are you exactly? The group of you?
Exiles.
What did you do?"
I just kind of shrug. Do you remember the berries?
She kind of nods.
That's it.
You made berries.
I can do some form of magic. That was enough. The young lady with horns looks the way she does. That was enough. I'm not entirely sure what everyone else did. I haven't asked.
This place you're from sounds awful. Rather primitive, in fact.
It's been getting worse. But it has its bright parts. And you see me like idly playing with the wedding ring. People in charge might be foolish, but not all of the ones who live there.
What did you encounter out there?
In the city? Oh.
She means like basically in the Badlands.
We thought it was a person at first, and then something happened and all our water was destroyed. Or a large portion of it.
She just nods. Thirster.
Good to have a name for it. The cactus didn't actually do anything, but it did follow us for a week.
She kind of her eyebrow goes up. A cactus followed you.
I wish I had a better way to describe it.
That's all you encountered.
The beetles, a pit full of scorpions, a storm without rain but plenty of lightning.
She just like shakes her head. She seems to like cross herself in a fashion that you don't recognize.
Tilt my head a bit.
That whole place is evil.
I wouldn't go so far as evil, but I certainly don't want to live there.
What do you intend to do?
The premise behind the banishment is that if you can actually report back that is good enough, you can go back to the city. And while I have no intention of staying there, I'm getting my family out, if nothing else.
You would go back?
Have you ever loved someone?
And there's just like no answer from her.
When you do, you'll understand why going through quite a bit of hell, worthwhile endeavor.
Just kind of shakes her head. It's almost time to leave. You should wake your friends.
All right, then. Just get up, stretch. Gently poke Faith, who is completely distracted at this point. Yeah, start with the combat ready, so to speak, and let the young and the old have the longest rest.
It's time to go already.
Yep.
Everything hurts. Get up, stretch.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Okay. So do you wake up everyone?
Yeah, just one at a time, but Marcus, Gabriel, Giselle, and then eventually the old and the young and the not combat.
As you go to wake Marcus up, he just says, "You forgot about the chickens."
I did forget about the chickens. There was the strange long-beaked birds that I don't know what they were. Not chickens. I raised chickens. Those
Yeah,
were
they
not
tasted
chickens.
way worse than chickens.
They could
You were
talk in your brain.
So she says.
Yeah.
She says a lot of things talk in your brain.
They could. I mean, they could cast spells too.
Including her pet rat.
And Raquela hears the bit about the pet rat and doesn't seem to respond to it. But she says, these chicken creatures, they have fleshy heads and long necks, black
Those
feathers.
are the ones.
Actually, and I probably still have one dead chicken in my pack. I pull it out. Look just like this.
And
You still have one?
Well, I was going to use it for bait.
Smells so bad.
Oh,
Yeah, I kind of
God.
forgot about it with the wolf thing and everything else. I didn't have time to do anything with it.
and she,
Boy.
yeah, Raquela's eyes kind of widen for a moment. She says, "It seems you're not completely useless after all. More things for trade."
I smugly look at everyone who has been like, "Oh, you still have that?" See, ha.
I still think you should not. Just put it away. It's rank.
Yes, please.
Been
Oh,
dead for like a day and a half.
and it gets hot during the day.
And you've had it in a pack with no air. Remind me not to borrow your bedroll.
Yes, seriously.
I don't put
I
the
thought it was
bedroll
the
in
body
pack,
the
it's
other
on
night.
top. You're all too squeamish.
I'm a farmer. You're a cow.
And this is a chicken.
Yeah, and Raquela's just kind of like watching you guys bicker back and forth for a minute.
I am packing up as we do this.
Yeah.
Chickens
Yeah.
don't talk in your head either.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't know. Your bird's making a damn fine effort, Gwen.
I want to go strangle.
That makes more than one of us.
Uh-huh.
Can't you just throw like a sheet over its cage so it falls asleep?
Or a sock in its mouth.
That's funny.
I've never heard of someone trying to gag a bird. This is hilarious.
Nope, not going. Nope, nope.
ExtremeBirdRestraints.com.
Wow. Yeah, so
Choke your chicken.
stop it.
Oh man.
I did not go there.
Yes.
Shay,
This is a different
control
context.
your woman. God, man.
Don't forget the little details that I have in my little black book, Mr. Sean.
Just So, I'm not sure what's happening here. So, yeah, you guys, you all wake up. Raquel is ready to go almost immediately. Not what I meant to do. Wait.
Morning berry distribution.
Hey, I think these
try
ones
new
taste a
berries?
little redder.
I did try for a different flavor.
It's a little bit different.
It's still better than the trail rations. I tried some of them. I don't know what they put in them, but that's awful.
Too much salt, if you ask me.
It's probably like 10% less than a lethal dosage.
Salt can be lethal.
Anyway. Come on, grandfather. Up!
Okay.
Not even sure why we're still dragging him around.
So, yeah, you guys begin to head out for the day. And, Jalen doesn't want to go, and Chandra's just getting tired. Gija seems to have a little bit of hop to his step. He seems to be, some sort of hope or optimism seems to have infected him with the presence of Raquel. Dallas still seems a bit curious. Reluctantly curious, maybe. But yeah, Raquel just heads out. And she begins to continue heading southwest and, moves between the land. She actually does take one of your berries for breakfast, Yinkin. Assuming you have enough
All right,
for
then.
her.
No, actually. Only makes 10.
That's right.
Yeah, and there's 4 of
Five.
us. There are
Five
5
of
of
us?
us and 4 of them.
5 NPCs.
No, 5-5.
Yeah, so
I'm already counting out the old man. Whoops.
Wow. So, I guess she doesn't take a berry, in fact. So yeah, you guys continue on, and
I would give mine up if she wanted it.
no,
and
she
just
wouldn't. She definitely
rations.
wouldn't make a show of like wanting it, but like if there was an extra one, she would take it. But otherwise, she won't.
I mean, I would do it as like a show, like a gesture of courtesy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, if you're willing to give up yours, yeah, I mean, she'll take it from you if you. If you
Yeah, I'll
don't
just
want it.
eat standard rations.
Okay.
You're gonna let her have your cherry?
And she says to you, Gabriel, we'll be there before nightfall.
It sounds good.
Excuse me. So, you guys continue heading through, and it's a nice clear day. Looks like there might be some clouds rolling in, but at least for the time being, it's getting a little warmer today. And yeah, you're traversing the land. Raquel is still keeping up a pretty good pace, but you guys are a little more accustomed to it now. And if you fall far enough behind, she kind of slows down a little bit to let you catch up. And yeah, you guys travel for a few hours. Excuse me. And you get to sorry, I'm coughing quite a bit suddenly. So yeah, you're traveling for a number of hours. It's probably afternoon, give or take. And if you want, you could take a little rest. She won't stop you if you want to take a rest, I guess I should say.
And we've amended. Excuse me. We've managed to avoid any kind of trouble. There's been no signs of other creatures.
Well, actually, give me a perception check. You're actually seeing some more wildlife getting this far south. More birds. You're even seeing occasionally a few, like, they look like small dogs that are running the land.
Dingoes.
What's that?
Dingoes.
Oh, yeah, dingo ate your baby. Yeah, there's
Roughly on the map, are we passing the mountains now, or are we
you're
headed?
still these mountains are pretty big, but yeah, you're getting, I'll move you're maybe there-ish.
Okay.
But you're still in the mountainous territory, but you're getting much closer to the mesa. And yeah, you're seeing a lot more wildlife. Like I said, a lot more. You're seeing some ravens in the air, maybe even some vultures. Occasionally, you're actually seeing some goats. They're like billy goats that are moving around. And again, you're seeing these dog creatures. So yeah, the land is getting a bit more populated, I guess would be the appropriate word. But Raquela seems to be moving you guys through in such a way that, you know, if there's any sort of danger, she seems to be weaving you away from it. Excuse me. Sorry. So you travel for a while. You take a little midday break. Raquela kind of like looks you up and down. It's not a long break. It's maybe 5-10 minutes. Just enough to like get a little bit of water and rest your legs for a few minutes. But it's clear that she wants to keep moving. So, yeah, you guys continue moving through. You're getting within maybe a few hours of the mesa. It's probably like early afternoon, 2:00 or so. And there we go. Sorry, I'm not trying to set up a token as I'm talking. And you're getting much closer to the mesa. There's still a lot of trees, a lot of wildlife, things of that nature. And almost very abruptly, Raquela stops. And she's probably like 50 feet ahead of you or so. And she just signals for you to stop.
Hit the brakes.
She begins like looking around. Like something's bothering her. Like she's caught onto something. She's just not real sure what it is. Do you guys do anything?
I'd like to look around if I can actively see her searching for something.
Same.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Take out my staff and ready position.
Okay. Give me a.
I'm gonna make sure I have mage armor on.
Okay. Is anybody else making perception checks? Only 3 of you did.
Yeah, I guess I will.
You don't have to. I'm just, if you wanted to, you could. Let me find it here. And well, that actually has pretty. Yeah, she kind of stops. She signals. You guys all look around. Marcus, you're the first one to catch it. Which is actually appropriate because you're the last one who actually saw it. Between you and Raquela. So there's a group of you, and then she's ahead of you by about 50 feet. You're kind of looking around trying to figure out what she's seeing. And it looks like there's a little bit of dust kicking up from the ground between you. You're the first one to see it. It's minute and hard to see at first. And she kind of suddenly spins around. And she says, if you're able to fight, now's the time. And she immediately just pulls her bow over her shoulder and begins to draw. And I'm going to need all of you to roll me initiative. That's what that's called.
That thing.
Wow.
Let's see. I will roll here in a second so you know what you're fighting.
It's probably the cactus.
The cactus explodes. No.
It explodes from the ground.
So actually, yeah, Marcus, you've got your eyes kind of trained on it. And Gabriel, you're the first one. You kind of look where Marcus is looking. And from the ground, suddenly something erupts. And it looks like a large that you've, again, oh, that's the wrong thing. I was going to say, that is the wrong thing. It looks like, I will show you what it looks like.
A turkey monster.
Oh, am I going to have to pull it onto the, I'm probably going to have to, whoops, that's not what I wanted.
It's a Doug trio.
Trio.
Sorry, hang on. I have to put it on the actual map for you guys to see it, I guess. Stop it. Sorry, everything's falling apart. Looks like this. That you've seen before, Marcus. You remember seeing this as you were fighting some scorpions and that thing came up from the ground. I guess I need to roll.
Is that the big one?
These things are everywhere.
It is. I'm going to roll for Raquel because I didn't do that yet.
Hey, she did bad too.
Wow.
That's okay, Sean. Just set up her character sheet, so because I forgot. So it's a very poor sheet, but that's okay. So you guys all see this giant scorpion erupt from the ground. Pincers screaming. Gabriel, you are first to act.
As soon as this thing bursts out, almost reactionary, I just hold my hand out and blast it with magic missile.
Okay. Yeah, so the 3 magic missiles just scream into this thing, slamming into its chitinous armor, doing 10 damage. And you just see its claws clapping back and forth angrily. Anything else your turn?
That's going to be it.
Giselle.
Okay, I'm gonna back up as far away as I can get from it,
Mhm.
and then blast it with
Okay.
a fireball.
That hits. Another 10
Ooh.
damage. Good work.
Nice.
Yeah, so you just light this thing on fire. Anything else?
No, that's
Faith.
Bonus action to inspire Marcus, and then take the dodge action.
Just dodging. Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Yinkin.
Back up a bit because that thing looks nasty, and lob fire at it.
Also hits it. -6. Okay, so you guys are burning this thing. It's you see its chitinous carapace is starting to light up with the fire that you're hitting it with. Now it is its turn. It actually has a speed of 40 feet. So I think it's going to just run for. I think it's actually going to run for Raquela because she's alone. That is not how much health she has. What the fuck? I'm gonna fix that. Okay. So it is actually going to run for Raquela. And it is going to attempt to claw at her twice. No, actually, I stand corrected. It's going to use a claw. This is going to go into, yeah, that definitely hits. And it's going to try to sting her. Which the second one, actually, the sting misses, thankfully. The claw does, 4. So she gets clawed for 4. Doesn't seem terribly affected by it. And now, Marcus, it is your turn.
So how far away is it from me now?
She was about 50 feet, so about 50 feet.
All right. Well, I will close the distance with my movement, and then still 20 feet away. I guess I will just Sacred Flame.
Okay.
Oh wait, can't cast from the spell sheet.
I'm gonna give me a second. I'm gonna make sure this thing is whispering my rolls. Dex save. Actually rolled a 13.
All right.
Now it is Raquela's turn, and she is gonna haul back and try to spear this thing, because she can do that. Unfortunately, yeah, with the hit she took, she's just kind of holding it at bay, but she's not able yet to. Actually, she gets 2 attacks. I think, yeah. So she's gonna try to spear it again. Also doesn't hit. Yeah, she's a little thrown off and just holding the thing at bay. Gabriel.
Not really trying to flank it, but moving off to the side to get maybe a different angle, because it seems like everyone's kind of blocked up in the back with ranged attacks, and kind of moving, I guess, halfway between Raquela and the party. So I'm off to the side, and I'm going to shoot a firebolt.
15 hits. Do 3 damage. Okay. Giselle. Gwen muted.
Since the last firebolt did so good, I'm just gonna hit him again.
Okay. Another 10 damage. Wow, you're rolling gangbusters. Okay.
Yeah.
Faith.
I will use another bonus. They don't lose inspiration if I give an inspiration to somebody else, right? I'm almost positive they don't.
I would have to look. But Marcus actually didn't use that last time. I don't think he needed it. But
No, but I think it just fades after an hour. Like you can give out,
yeah. So I
but-
can give one to Yinkin this time.
Okay.
And then with the same, I flew to my lips. You know, I'm gonna turn dissonant whispers on the thing.
Okay. I think I has to roll what, a wisdom save?
Yes.
13 fails. So it takes 11 damage. Okay. Yinkin.
I am going to roll that inspiration you just gave me. What is it? 1d6 right now?
I think so, yeah.
Sorry, I'm nodding.
So 14.
Yeah, that actually does it.
Oh,
So
it
you-
asks us to move its speed away from me as far as possible as well.
Right. I mean, it's already pretty far away from you.
Okay.
Yeah. It is
1 fire damage.
Yep. It is the scorpion's turn, and it's going to keep attacking Raquela. It's going to claw. Hits. And then it's going to sting her. Oh, shit. Caleb might be going down here. Let's see. 16. She takes 16 damage from the claws.
Damn.
And then... Let's see. She has to make a con save. Come on, girl. Makes her con save, thankfully. So reduces damage by half. Okay, so yeah, she takes some damage from the stinger, but she seems otherwise unaffected. Marcus.
All right, I will close the rest of the distance and then try and hit this thing with my quarterstaff.
That hits. Okay, 11 damage.
And then, how bloodied does she look from those claw attacks? Like,
She's bloody, but she's okay. She's got maybe another hit or 2 in her. Like two
All right,
really good hits might take her out.
This thing hits 3 times in a row, though. So
Yeah.
It's also true.
I still don't like it that much. I'm going to bonus action unarmed strike this thing.
Okay. 14 hits.
6.
Okay. All right. Anything else your turn?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Move back to bonus.
Raquela will once again take a couple spear attacks against this thing. Let's see. Oh, that's not how you work that. Can you tell I don't play D&D as a player? Wow, she's rolling for shit. Okay. Yeah, so she's getting a little... She doesn't look panicked, but she seems distracted by the claws, so she's just not able to connect with it. Gabriel.
Is there a way to hit the scorpion with an area of effect spell without hitting either Raquela or...
No, I feel like because Marcus is there doing melee, if you're going to do area of effect, you have to hit one or the other.
Do you do flanking? So would she have advantage on those spear attacks?
I mean, she would, I guess, but I'll give her the second one because she rolled a 17. Okay, so she does a little bit of damage just because Marcus is there harrying the thing from the back. But no, Gabriel, like if you'd have to hit one or the other.
Yeah, I'll just stick with the standard attack.
It does hit. You do 4 damage. Guys are like all hitting. It's crazy. Giselle. Muted. Gwen.
yeah, I was muted. Yeah, that doesn't hit, obviously.
No, unfortunately that does not hit. Faith.
Okay. That's not what I'm trying to do. Stop it. I'm gonna move within range of our ally here and go ahead and do a healing word on her.
Okay. Okay.
7, and then I'm gonna take one of my daggers and throw it at the scorpion thing.
Okay. That actually hits, yeah. Nice. So you throw a dagger right at this thing and lodges itself in its shell, doing some damage. Yinkin.
Move it. Keep lobbing fire.
Unfortunately,
that time
does not hit. Scorpion's turn. The Scorpion is freaking out a bit. Clearly, it's pretty close to death, and it's not happy about it. But it's going to go down fighting, so it's going after Raquela one last time. It can see that she's... well, no, actually, it's going to turn on Marcus, because Marcus has been doing all the damage to it, because she hasn't done anything. So it's going to...
Lucky.
It's going to claw at you twice. It actually gets 3 attacks.
This could easily kill me. So
Oh my goodness.
What's your
all
AC?
right.
at a 15.
So the first one hits with a 15. You take 9 bludgeoning.
Okay, that hurt a lot.
Second one misses you with a 10, and now it's going to sting you. Misses you with a 14.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you take a little bit of damage, just 9, which isn't bad.
Well, that's 60% of my health.
Well, okay, you know. All right, now it's your turn.
not bad for Sean.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more than 60. Shit, it's like 66.
2/3. Got it.
Yeah,
How much health do you have
I got 15 HP.
His ass.
total?
Yeah, level 2.
Level
Nice.
2, man.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I'm top at 16.
No, I've actually got 17.
I only have 12.
Wait, the bard is our tank.
I am not a tank. I am just healthy.
I'm
It's all the
envious.
squish.
I only have 12 hit points. This thing would fuck me up.
Okay. All right. I will remember that going forward. Okay, Marcus, it's your turn.
Well, you can hit us level. Give us level 3, and then no, sorry.
I'm going to grit my teeth and attack this thing back. Kind of like take a minute or a second to catch my breath after that claw.
That definitely hits. Okay, 5 damage.
And then bonus action unarmed strike.
Okay. Unfortunately, that actually misses.
You have inspiration.
Oh wait, yeah,
Oh,
inspiration.
that's right, you do. Oh, you got.
It's a D6.
It doesn't matter what you roll; that's gonna hit.
Well, is it 12 or 13?
It's 12, so it doesn't matter what you roll. Yeah, so you hit it for 5. The shell like cracks in on the side. The scorpion is panicked now, moving back and forth, but it is still alive. It is now Raquela's turn, and she's actually just gonna grab her dagger and try to impale this thing on the top. And let's see if Sean can hit for shit. Yay!
Hey!
So, Raquela actually kills the thing. So she brings her dagger.
Sean, how do you want to do this?
Exactly. Yeah. Sean killed a thing. Hooray! So
Sean killed his own thing.
yeah, so she brings her dagger down right on the thing's skull, and its whole body just splays out. And you hear the dagger just crunch down through the shell of the scorpion. And she kind of looks up at you, Marcus, gives you like a firm nod, and just like rips her knife right back out of the scorpion. And it's just like you staring at her, and she's got like this like greenish viscous blood coming off of her blade, and she kind of like tosses, like tries to like clean it off on the ground.
I'll kind of give her a nod back to like I'm less antagonistic towards her than I was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I am going to walk up. How badly injured are both of you?
I'll be all right. And then my hand glows. And hey, sweet, back up to full.
There you go.
And you? And look at Raquela.
And she just kind of waves you off. I'll be fine.
Your choice.
I'd like to recover my dagger from its hide.
Okay, yeah.
Carapace, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
I'd like to study the creature because I didn't see the giant scorpion
Yeah.
the first time, so I'm like
Some of those-
fascinated by this.
I don't think it's the same one, but looks the same as the giant one. That.
Wait, same one?
Oh yeah, I didn't really mention that before, but you know those scorpions, the little ones. There was a really big one that popped out after we got away.
So that's what the rumbling was.
Marcus, do you think there's any use in the toxin of the stinger? The little ones had it. Shouldn't the big one?
I mean,
Might be a lot.
yeah, probably. The toxins can always be used to make either poisons or anti-poisons.
Yeah, and Raquela, when you say that, she kind of looks at you, Faith, and nods, and she like interrupts Marcus and just says, "Antidotes." And she reaches down with her dagger and starts like sawing at the thing's stinger.
I believe it's actually called antitoxin.
I think it's actually anti-venom, but you know.
She pushes her glasses up on her nose a little.
I am actually going to start studying the scorpion a bit because I'm fascinated by giant insect that I've never seen before.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you guys
Try to figure out how it works.
Okay. You guys take a minute. Jalen, in his typical childish fashion, just like runs up on the thing and starts poking at it with a crossbow. You know, kicking it with his feet and everything else, just like trying to look at it. Raquela definitely gives him a dirty ass look. Anything else you guys do with the scorpion?
Marcus, you want to try and eat it?
No, I've had a bad experience with that.
Does its shell look particularly interesting?
It's as black, if not blacker, than night. It's unusually dark. It doesn't glitter, if that's what you're looking for.
No.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't really have the tools necessary to harvest carapace.
So yeah, she Raquela finishes like sawing off the thing's tail, and she like seems to like do something to try to seal it off and puts it in her bag. Just like looks at all of you, nods to see if you're like ready to go.
Is it good for eating?
If you know how to pull away the meat, yes.
Seems like you'd be like a big lobster.
I don't know what that is.
It's a disgusting sea creature that's chewy and slimy, and it's not
Anyway,
worth it.
let's.
Yeah, good.
Shall we, ladies, gentlemen, grandfather?
Yeah, let's move on.
Right. Yeah.
And Raquela nods and she kind of turns to keep heading off. Give me like 40 seconds.
Yep.
Okay.
Giselle, why don't you try and talk to the scorpion?
Yeah, is it telepathic?
Is it talking to you right now?
Because it's dead. I can't speak with all animals' cheese.
Because that would be ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's only rats and chickens.
Not rats. It's my familiar.
All right, so you're
Was
familiar
that
with
when
it.
you're familiar too?
Magic.
But you didn't have to get familiar with the chicken to talk to it.
I've been training in magic since I was about 20. Okay? I
And
know.
how old
So
are you now?
you're old?
I'm 120.
Oh, really old. Got it.
Jeez, you're old.
I'm an elf. I'm actually quite young. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I know older elves.
Do
Me
you
too.
really? There are older elves in Bastion?
At least one.
Oh,
She's old, too.
wow. I haven't met anyone older.
You wouldn't have.
My mom. She died when I was young.
Like 90?
No, like when I was like 2 or 3.
Which is what, like 60 in Elven years?
No, like literally 2 or 3.
All right, I figured it out.
Hmm.
Everything is complicated.
With her, it seems.
I'm a wizard. Of course it's complicated.
I don't see how that makes you complicated. I think you just make it complicated, not your
No,
arcane
I don't
ability.
make it complicated. You make it complicated.
I think it's just because wizards have to read a lot of
Just trust
books.
me.
So they get confused.
You see,
Too
Ah, that makes
I
sense.
have been practicing magic for a long time. Couldn't you just trust me on this one?
Well, I guess we're
When
just
I
trying to
hear
figure out
you
how it
rats
works.
speak, I will trust you on all things magical.
I mean, you say you could talk to rats because you're familiar with them, but chickens,
No,
you don't need
I'm
to be
not
familiar.
with them.
But not all animals. It's just you know.
He is a familiar, not that I'm familiar with him.
Hey, I mean, I'm not gonna judge.
Okay, so I've been back for a minute just listening to you guys chat. So, you guys continue your travels. Now, you're getting to the point where you're close enough that you're seeing the mesa really come into view. And it's, afternoon at this point, 3 o'clock maybe in the afternoon, so you've still got a considerable amount of light left. And, the river's never far from you. Raquela seems to follow it, but she, keeps her distance. That's where animals go to drink and things. It's sometimes dangerous to just walk along the river. But you're seeing the mesa come fully into view. There's more trees, there's more foliage, there's more green, more wildlife. And a thing that you start to notice, even from a distance, the outside of the rock, the outside of the mesa, seems, from a distance, it's hard to describe. Patterned? It's not flat on the sides. It isn't just a sheer rock. It looks like there's a rhythm or a rhyme to the outside of it that you're looking at as you're approaching. Seems kind of unnatural.
Unnatural like the cave?
Hard to say from this distance. You know, the closer you get, the more apparent it will become.
Fair.
But you continue your traveling. And as you get close, you're within, a mile or two of it. Maybe even a little longer, maybe 3 miles, something like that. And you see on the ground what clearly looks like fences that have been constructed. And you start to see like goats that are in these fenced in, these penned in areas. And as you approach the rock, you get closer still. It looks like what they've done is that people are living, they have created structures into the side of the rock of this mesa. Does that make sense? Houses and buildings and rope bridges.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool.
And as you get closer, you're starting to see some people they look like shepherds, farmers.
Now this I understand.
And you're getting close enough that Raquela kind of stops and waits for you all to kind of gather. She says, "It would be wise for you to stay near me."
Would it help if I didn't quite look as I do?
She kind of like squints a little. That won't matter here.
Faith will just nod.
I'm curiously looking at the farming techniques, seeing how they differ from mine.
Yeah, I mean, most of these right now are just that you're seeing are shepherds with their livestock. Excuse me. She says, "Welcome to Haven Rock." And she escorts you up to the side of the mesa. And you see that there's a number of people of all ages, all that look quite a bit like her. Darker skinned, human, mostly. All wearing fairly simple clothes made of like cloth or leather. And a number of them greet her, nod at her. But also there's a significant amount of apprehension. She's coming into town with strangers, and that's going to arouse suspicion. She kind of walks you up to the mesa, and you see that there's stairs made of rock, and she begins to walk you guys up. And, a few people kind of try to stop her, but she kind of presses forth. A few people like motion to her, and some smile at her and what have you. She continues walking up the side of the mesa. And you get to an area that's more inhabited, more folks. This looks like more of like the kind of a residential area. And you're still just walking on the side of this mesa, on the side of this cliff, effectively. She begins like weaving through people, and other people are like parting for her, but they're also mostly parting for you because they don't know who you are. And the folks with you are clinging pretty close to you, Chandra especially, and Gabriel. She's clinging to you. She's not sure who these people are. You see a few people with weapons similar to Raquela's, spears and bows, things like that. And she kind of weaves through a few folks, and more people are smiling at her and trying to talk to her, and she kind of abruptly stops outside of this small dwelling. And she looks to all of you. She says, "This is my place when I am here. I don't like to invite strangers into my home. Given the circumstances, however." And like other people have kind of stopped to watch. And she like opens the door.
Well, thank you for the hospitality. We'll try not to be
Indeed.
strangers for long.
And she walks in first and kind of expects you guys to follow.
Yeah, I'll follow.
Follow we do.
It's a fairly small place. By no means a mansion, anything like that. But you hear something coming from within, presumably like a small kitchen or a nook of some sort. And it sounds like some humming or singing. And you hear a voice from the kitchen say, clearly a woman's voice that says, "Home so soon? I wasn't expecting you." And you see this woman, roughly the same age as Raquela, and I guess I should point out that she's probably in her late 20s, Raquela. And this young woman with short braided hair and loose-fitting clothing kind of pops out. And she's got like a bowl, and she appears to be like mixing something. And her eyes go kind of wide. And Raquela has this very awkward smile on her face. She kind of... There's just this awkward tension. "Yes, dear. Would you mind if I had some strangers stay in our house?" And the young woman's eyes go kind of wide. And Raquela turns to look at all of you, like very somberly. "A moment, please."
Of course.
And Raquela kind of takes the other woman's hand and walks her back into the kitchen. And you guys are kind of all left standing in the entryway to this small house. And you hear some like hushed whispering coming from the kitchen.
My wife would kick my ass if I attempted this.
Bring 10 strangers to your house.
Your D&D wife or your actual?
Yes. Both.
Both.
To be fair, I'm more likely to bring 10 strangers home.
That's also true. She'd be worried.
Wow. So there's a moment you guys are all just like standing there, and suddenly Raquela reappears. "Apologies." And then the other woman comes out, and she's kind of like tried to clean herself off because she had some like flour or whatever, staining her clothes. And she's got the younger woman has or the smaller woman, I should say, because she's considerably shorter than Raquela is. And she's got this big smile on her face. She's like, I'm so sorry for my wife. Welcome to our home. I am Soyala. Please, come in.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. There's no need to apologize.
Oh, no, of course not. And she, like,
We've-
glares at Raquela for a moment, and Raquela, like, tries to fight off, like, an embarrassed blush. I know that my wife can be difficult. And Raquela's like, Suyala, please. And there's, like,
So-
that, clearly that awkward, like married couple cuteness thing happening.
I'm sure we didn't make it easy for her.
I know,
we
I didn't.
definitely did not make it easy for her. I am Giselle, by the way.
Giselle, you are quite beautiful. I don't think I've ever...
You.
Oh, you're very welcome. Would you all sit? Are you hungry? Thirsty? Do you need anything?
Is that fresh bread you're making?
Of a sort. It won't be ready for quite some time, I'm sorry. I always try to bake things for Raquela's homecoming.
There's no apology necessary. It's just I've been providing very limited fare for the last few days.
No,
Would you like
please.
some
Of course,
help?
I have things. Let me, please. And Raquela's like, Suyala, it's fine. They've been eating. And, like, Suyala gives Raquela this look like we are going to be nice to our guests. Like, how dare you? And Suyala, like, disappears into the kitchen for a moment. And Raquela's left standing there just staring at you.
Faith can't help it. She giggles.
Yeah, and Raquela, like, notices but tries hard to play like she's not noticing. You won't be here long, will you?
Isn't that up to somebody to judge us on if we can stay?
I mean,
I
we don't
don't
want to
plan on
stay
staying.
here in your home.
And
It's absolutely not our intention to do that.
Right, yeah, no, of
I
course.
didn't even know you were bringing us here.
And, like, Suyala comes bursting back out. She says, Raquela, here, you are welcome to stay as long as you guys are so cute. And she's, like doting on you. She starts bringing you some food. She brings you, some of it's, like, leftovers, but she's got some mutton. She's got a bunch of fish. She just tries to heat up some food. She brings out a pitcher of water for you.
Would you like some help?
No, oh, no, dear. This is my house. You are guests. You will... No. Stay. You stay. You are... Oh, my goodness. Are you guys tired? What do you need? And Raquela's like, Suyala, they're fine.
Honestly, I think we just need to talk. We've
Yeah.
been on the road for a long time and haven't
And-
seen anybody else.
Suyala's
is a
like,
bit of a stretch.
oh, yes, I'm sure you have wonderful stories. Suyala, please don't. Raquela, these are our guests. Please, folks, your names, please, all of you, come sit. Like, she's putting some of you on the floor. She's trying to, like, find seating for you. It's kind of tight here, obviously. This place wasn't built for this many people.
I'm Faith.
And
Thank you.
Suyala says, Faith, you are so lovely. Your skin, and Raquela has just, like, sat herself in a corner and is just, like, stewing at this.
Yeah, the look on Faith's face is almost incredulous, but at the same time, it's not like that kind of, I don't believe you. It's just like, wait, did you really just say that?
Yeah, and Suyala's she is just all smiles and is looking at all of you. I think her eyes fall on Chandra for a moment. She says, oh dear, you are so young. And is this your son? Like, saying to Jalen. And Jalen's like, no, ew, gross. And Chandra is just like, oh no, I'm Chandra. It's so nice. Chandra, you are so oh honey, do you need a comb for your hair? And Suyala's just trying to ingratiate herself to all of you. Sorry, go ahead.
After I introduce myself to her, I am going to go sit next to not like too close to Raquela, but close enough that she can hear me at a low whisper and hopefully be the only one when I go, it would seem some things are common across all cultures. My wife does this too, and it drives me insane.
Yeah, and Raquela just, like, sighs. This was not my intention.
I one time brought home the trade master because he wanted to ask how I did something. I don't think she let the man leave for 4 hours.
I hope we aren't here that long. And Suyala's like bouncing around the room and talking to all of you and introducing herself and bringing you food. And you know, it takes you guys a couple hours to settle in because Suyala's just she's all energy. She's just a ball of energy rushing around this house.
I just compliment whatever food she brings up. Oh, this is so delicious.
And she's like, "Oh, it's nothing at all. This is common. Don't you dare. Just, I know you're trying to be sweet."
It's the first food. Oh, it's so good.
It's the first thing we've eaten that isn't a berry or a trail ration in 12, 13? How many days has it
In
been?
at least a 10-day.
I stopped counting.
And where are all of you from? I mean, you all look.
Bastion. Nom nom.
And Raquela goes, "Suyala, don't." And Suyala's like, "Raquela," and there's a look on Raquela's face like, please don't. And Suyala's like, "I'm fine. Wherever it is you're from, you're here now, and you're safe, and that's what matters." Jeez, I can't imagine being out there that long. What do you plan to do? And Raquela says, "Yes. What do you plan on doing?"
We plan on not being a burden to you. Obviously, we were let go from Bastion, but we were meant to find our own way, and we need to get information. I don't suppose it would be possible to have a meeting with, I don't know, do you have a governor or some form of town leadership?
And
just someone who can
can
point
speak
us
with.
in the right direction.
Suyala says, "Well, of course, there's Rocky Wea." And Raquela's like, "Suyala, don't. Just..." She's like, "No, that's what..." Raquela, just... You're being rude to our guests. She says, "Well, there's the Den Mother, of course. I don't know what sort of information you're looking for, but I imagine she can help you."
Well, primarily, obviously, we can't all live here with you. If we're going to stay in this area, we would like to make our own way. So I think at least discussing something with her, and maybe showing some of the values that we have, some of the abilities that we have. So maybe we could be helpful to the community, and in such earn our way here. Perhaps get ourselves a small hovel to begin with, and but I don't think permanent residence is what we're looking for. But
The rest of the
not
campaign.
being a burden to you is going to be our immediate priority.
Well, that's up to the rest of them, in fairness. They kind of stuck with us for lack of a better option. But we should be able to
Again,
work
all
out
of them
something, I hope.
have shown skills, cooking, tools, things of that nature. So
I'm sure anyone that wanted to stay would be willing to work for their keep.
exactly, and that's just why I believe you refer to her as the Den Mother. That's...
And Suyala says, "Yes, Rocky Wea." And she can't find a word that she wants to say. I will put that in chat in a moment. She says, "Well, of course, we can go see her, but maybe in the morning. It's kind of late. You know, there are the foremothers. In fact, the mesa's quite large, and one of the things that you maybe saw coming up, but maybe you didn't, is that this mesa is huge. Okay, like several miles, maybe a couple miles across." And you only saw the one side of it, the side that you came from, right? And so Suyala says, "You know, there are the foremothers, the four comms. We can go see Rocky Way tomorrow, but if something goes wrong there are the others, of course."
I think
So
maybe
there are other villages like this around the mesa.
Well, yes, there's the four comms. North and east, south, west. We all work together to a common purpose, and each of us has our strengths and our focuses. She kind of points to Raquela. She says, the north, we shepherds, as you saw coming in, but also the north is known for its warriors and its hunters. And there's like a moment where Ciola's eyes kind of drop because she knows about Raquela. She knows what Raquela does and probably why Raquela was out on a hunt recently. But she kind of looks back at you and puts a smile on. She says, in each of the comms, they have a trait or a skill. But Rocky Wea will be able to help you tomorrow. She's a great and wise woman. I'm sure that whatever you need, she can be of some assistance to you.
Well, it would be much appreciated if you were to introduce us tomorrow. Thank you so much.
She says, of course, it would be my pleasure. Is there anything else you require? Are you still hungry? And like Jalen has been like stuffing his face. He's probably been like taking food from other people. And so Yala kind of notices and like she'll go back and try to find like, scrounge up some other food for you. And she kind of leaves you for a moment. And
While
Raquel,
she's...
Go ahead.
I was going to turn to Raquela and say, is there somewhere we can stay within the, like an open building or an open field or somewhere we won't be a burden or, obviously you don't have room for all 10 of us here in this very lovely home.
You're welcome to sleep with the sheep if you'd like. And you hear this sound from the kitchen that's just like, ugh, from Sayala, just in disgust at what her wife said. And Raquela kind of rolls her eyes. She says, there might be somewhere for you to stay. Give me a few moments and let me see what I can come up with. And
actually, sheep doesn't sound that bad. Warm, soft.
Stinky.
Yeah, but so are we. Or at least we were.
You only stink because of that chicken that's still in your bag. Get rid of it and you'd be fine. I'm sure you'd be fine. Nah. And her cheeks darken a little bit.
yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah, you guys take a few minutes and relax, and Ciala brings out more food, and Raquela kind of pulls her aside for a moment. They have a quiet conversation, and Raquela comes back and says, give me a few moments. I will see if I can find something for you. And she like disappears out of the house, and there's a few minutes where you guys are all just relaxed and eating and getting fresh water, and Ciala sits with all of you. She says quietly, she doesn't like to talk about it, but that place you're from, there have been others, They don't always do as well as you have. Something of a miracle, really, that you made it this far in such a shape.
It wasn't easy.
We're pretty
It's
amazing.
probably no coincidence that the 5 of us were all exiled on the same day.
Although I'm very curious, how many others do you recall? Because none have ever returned. I don't know if they've just found something better, but we always assumed they had died.
Why would they return to a city that kicked them out?
Same
Yeah,
reason
honestly,
I will.
this
family.
Some of us have
What about-
family home.
there's a good chance people try. They don't talk about.
What if they have returned and we were just never told?
That's true too.
Were they?
Also, if you make it across the Badlands and find this, you still have to get back across the Badlands to tell someone.
True.
Well, with
I'm sorry, we're
generous
not letting her
hosts
get a
like
word in.
this, Well, with generous hosts like this, they would be in better shape to return, I'd think.
In better shape to not want to.
Yeah, so y'all is just kind of watching you guys, have this conversation, and she's just quiet and has a gentle smile on her face, and you probably read it as like a little bit of like mild pity about what you've been through, and some empathy on her face, but she's not going to interrupt watching you discuss. And for maybe the first time, Jija kind of like opens his mouth and he says, "Y'all are stupid. We just need to stay here. Look at this. This is paradise. Why would you ever want to go back? There's nothing back there. Nothing back there but death. I mean, this wonderful woman's fed us and taken care of us.
So stay here.
I very much plan to.
Well, there you go then.
And if the rest of you are smart,
Don't force yourself upon them. We have to wait for this rocky way to allow such a thing.
well, I'll
Although
make a
the
convincing
hospitality,
argument."
I must admit, the hospitality has been fantastic, though.
Ciala kind of
Agreed.
blushes. Raquela comes back after a few minutes, sees all of you just chatting, and sees Ciala with this like gentle smile on her face. Kind of like weaves back through to Ciala's side. She says, "They're building a new barn down below. There's more than enough space. They have some hay. Won't be the most comfortable thing, but you said you were comfortable sleeping with the sheep."
Sounds perfect.
Would not be the first time I've
Sheep.
spent the night in the barn.
And,
Actually, used to do that quite often early in the marriage.
What?
and Ciala looks up at Raquela. She says, "That's all you could find for them is a barn?" Ciala, "It's fine. They're happy with it, see?"
I'm not happy with sleeping in a barn.
I cover her mouth.
It's better than the cold, hard ground and a bad bedroll.
Hmm,
Raquela says,
yes.
"I will find you first thing in the morning. We will go see Rocky Wea, see what the Den Mother has to say."
Should we anticipate trouble in the night? You told us to stick near you. Are people aware? Or should we just not wander?
"I would recommend not wandering." Ciala like smacks Raquela. "Why would they not wander? It's totally safe. Would you stop? Listen, guys, you're safe here. You're warm. There's no reason." And Raquela just like looks at Ciala, like makes this like again that face that you've seen her make probably a dozen times, which is like, "Please don't." And Raquela says, "There is no danger here. People might gawk at you. It might give me a reputation if you care about that. Bringing in strays." And Ciala just like slaps Raquela like on the ass, just like spanks her in full view of you. And
Maybe we should head to the barn.
I would like to personally say, Raquela, at very least, thank you, because more than once you did slow down after saying you wouldn't. And even if the grandfather won't admit to it, I have the strangest feeling he needed the help.
he just and Jalen excitedly just says, "So we get to sleep in a barn?"
We do.
And Chandra, Gabriel is just looking at you, like looking to you to see if that's the plan.
I just nod.
Would you like me to escort you, or can you find your own way?
Which is better for your reputation?
And Ciala just like looks up at Raquela and just like squints at her, like just staring daggers. "I will take you."
Damn.
Perhaps I should have asked which was safer for your marriage.
Yeah, that was the question I was gonna say, but
And yeah, Raquela kind of like stands up and brushes herself off and goes to the door, and then you hear Ciala clear her throat. Raquela like opens the door for you all to go. And as you're getting up to leave, Raquela like begrudgingly walks back over and gets a kiss from her wife. And then she heads for the door. And she will escort all of you back down the way you came. It's actually, after, thinking about it, it's not that hard to navigate. You just, go back down the way you came, down the stairs, down a rope bridge or two, and then back down to the ground level. And she walks you, a little bit off to the side, and you see that there's a farmhouse, like a small house, like an outcropping that's been built away from the rock, and they're building kind of a barn. And she leads you out to it. Safe to assume you won't cause any trouble out here.
So long as trouble doesn't find us.
Indeed. I'll find you in the morning. Is there anything else you require?
I mean, once your wife finishes that bread... And I
Don't
say
be
it in an
greedy.
attempt to joke.
Yeah, and she just like glares at you for a moment.
Figured it couldn't hurt to ask.
There's no reason to be greedy. We have a roof over our head for the first time in quite some time, and possibly the last, so.
Fair enough.
Excuse me. Okay. So yeah, you guys bed down for the evening then?
Nice try with the bread, Faith.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you guys bed down in the barn. There's plenty of hay for you guys to kind of like make up some beds or what have you for you to bed down for the night. Yeah, you guys, for the first time in quite some time, are able to sleep with a roof over your head. Maybe it's difficult for you to sleep at first. You don't hear any howling or anything.
What do we hear? Like just the sounds of the village, though.
Not only do you hear that, but you hear the sounds of like animals grazing and sleeping. There's probably like some animals snoring and stuff that's kind of unusual for you. But yeah, that you hear the sounds of the village, of the calm, and some animals, but there's no howling. There's no, for the first time in quite some time, there's no worry about something coming and eating you in the night, unless you are worried about maybe a goat or a sheep coming to eat you, which, maybe that's a fear you have.
Nah.
Get out.
You knew she was going to do that, didn't you?
Just get out.
You love me.
Okay, so yeah, you guys rest for the evening. You start to feel the temperature, rise first thing in the morning. The sun starts to come up. An early day. I feel like we should probably pick up there next week.
Yeah, seems like
Works
good.
for me.
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, you guys have successfully made it to Haven Rock.
Civilization.
Yeah, perhaps. Okay, so this is a milestone. So you guys all hit level 3.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yay.
This was a very specific milestone, you guys hitting Haven Rock. So, yeah.
Meta magic.
Nice dude.
Key points.
I don't get anything except for spells,
Cutting words.
Okay.
but I'm real happy about. I think I get level 2 spells.
Should I roll or should I take the average? I'll
I
roll.
should have taken the average.
I'm just doing average this game.
I should have taken the average.
It's okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
a little anticlimactic ending, but that's okay. We can have this.
I'm okay with having a nice restful.
It's a
ending.
nice, chapter ending.
Yeah.
We
Not
don't
bad.
have to have friggin'
Cliff-
cliffhangers every session.
We do, though. They're great. They're so much fun.
I was expecting to have like this mob looming outside the barn when we wake up, and that be our cliffhanger.
Pitchforks and torches. Pitchforks and torches. Kill the
Pretty
devil.
much.
Kill the devil.
I am the devil.
Well, I
No,
think-
I'm the devil.
I was gonna say, yeah, like Mel is actually the devil. Okay, so yeah, we'll pick up there next week. You guys all level to 3, and you will. I guess you'll meet. We'll come in, and you guys will meet Rocky Wea.
Nice.
Nice to...
Cool. So yeah. Any questions, comments, concerns?
None.
Okay.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
African or European? Oh, Conrad. Ow. Okay.
I just want to know for later when I get a fly speed.
Aren't you clever? Oh, next game is actually March 3rd. Wow, we're already into March.
Nice subtle spell. Subtle
This
spell
year
is shit.
is flying by.
Okay. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed your first civilization. I mean, you're not done with it, but yeah, I figured you guys might hit it come next week, but you got a little bogged down, and I was like, that's okay. So hopefully, hopefully this is fun for you.
I thought you realized how squishy we were.
No. It's see, it makes combat easier for me though that you're so squishy. So, I mean, you're also low level, but
I am super squishy though.
That's because you're a wizard. Like,
I realize though
Always
I'm
squishy.
really gonna have to pick up on the range stuff. That's gonna have to be next. But I mean that just so you know, that scorpion had like a shit ton of hit points. It had I think like 90.
It felt like we were damaging it pretty bad, and it was
yeah,
kicking.
like we were hitting hard every time we hit.
Yeah, and it still had. I mean, I was like, well, I should bring down the hit points, and I was like, no, there's a lot of them, so I'm glad I left it where it was. Yeah, it had 90 hit points, so yeah, that's good. That is good. I thought that was a pretty well decent. If Conrad had gotten hit with that stinger, you might have been fucked.
Yeah, or that second claw. I mean, like,
Yeah.
when she took 16 damage in the 2 claws, I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't burn my heal on her beforehand. I was like, if she gets attacked, I can heal her afterwards, and if I get attacked, I'm probably gonna need healing myself.
And I can still heal. I try to save my spells to heal if need be. So
Good. Okay. Yeah, and so this will be like, you guys have had a lot of combat for a little while, which has been good. But now, there's going to be a lot of NPC stuff, which I'm pretty stoked about. So yeah. Like I do hope you guys are having fun with the
We get
homebrew. A
some-
little bit of a
and I'm
slower
liking it.
episode, but that's okay.
oh no, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get more like lore dumps now because we've learned we've
Yeah.
met people outside the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that too. So
Oh wait, I get spells too. God damn it, so much shit.
this is I don't want to spoil anything, but this is one of those big moments obviously in the campaign where things are going to start to open up for you, and obviously these people have some information about the world that you're going to come in contact with. So yeah, cool beans. All right, well, we will pick up there next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great.
Indeed.
Thank you for anyone watching, and we'll see you next week.